Chapter 2239. In times of crisis, humans could always unleash shocking combat power. With the divine slaying child at their head, the peerless immortals of Sky Star City unleashed their trump cards and unleashed all sorts of spells as if they cost nothing. It was a spectacular sight to see dozens of peerless immortals attacking at the same time. Even a peak peerless immortal celestial demon wouldn't dare face them head-on. Damn it! The peak peerless immortal celestial demon grimaced at the sight of so many peerless immortals charging at him. He glanced at his remaining 3 companions, then gritted his teeth and charged out. Thud! 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 A peak peerless immortal celestial demon was no joke. Despite facing so many peerless immortals, he still had the upper hand. 3 peerless immortals were killed in the blink of an eye. Crack! The deaths of the 3 peerless immortals had bought Ningyu enough time to make his move. With the red demon sword in hand, Ningyu appeared in front of the peak peerless immortal celestial demon. He swung the red demon sword. Crack! It was too late for the peak peerless immortal celestial demon to block it. Ningyu's attack was immensely powerful. Even if the celestial demon was a half-step Saint Immortal, it would still kill him. Uft! He spat out a mouthful of blood. The peak peerless immortal celestial demon was killed on the spot. What? On the other side, Di Lingtian took the opportunity to look at the battlefield beside him while he was fighting with Ning Lu. Di Lingtian's jaw dropped and his face was filled with shock. Di Lingtian had never imagined that only 3 of the 17 peak peerless immortal celestial demons would remain. Moreover, if he didn't intervene, the remaining 3 peak peerless immortal celestial demons would still be killed. Come back! In a moment of desperation, Di Lingtian yelled. Hum hum hum. Di Lingtian's voice was heavenly in the ears of the 3 peak peerless immortal celestial demons. They tore open the void and dove in. Trying to leave? How could Ningyu allow the 3 celestial demons to escape? He first ordered Aquamoon Fairy and the others to enter Sky Star City, then dove into the void. Bam! Bam! 2 crisp sounds rang out consecutively. In an instant, the 2 sky demons were blasted out of the void and fell heavily to the ground, courting death. Just as Ningyu was about to kill the last sky demon, Di Lingtian suddenly rushed out and punched the red devil sword. Ding! When his fist came into contact with the red demon's sword, Ningyu felt a sharp pain in the area between his thumb and forefinger. The red demon sword suddenly flew out of his hand. Fortunately, the red fiend was in the red fiend sword. He controlled the red fiend sword to return to Ningyu. Otherwise, the red devil's sword might be snatched away by Di Lingtian with merely this move. Thank you for saving my life, master. Behind Di Lingtian, the surviving peak peerless immortal celestial demons still shuddered in fear. Just a little bit more. If it wasn't for Di Lingtian's help, there would only be one outcome for him, and that was death. Shut up! Di Lingtian glared at Heavenly Demon, then looked at Ning Lu and Ningyu and said in a low voice, You have completely infuriated me. So what if I infuriate you? Ning Lu shrugged and said, I seem to have heard someone say that they would kill all of us in 3 moves. It's already been 30 moves. Why am I still alive? Humph! You only know how to talk. Di Lingtian snorted coldly. Bam! As they spoke, a dull thud came from Di Lingtian's body. Following this muffled sound, Di Lingtian's aura skyrocketed at a terrifying speed. Peak early stage, Saint Immortal. Middle stage, Saint Immortal. Peak mid-stage, Saint Immortal. Bam! A second dull thud was heard. Di Lingtian's cultivation base had reached the late stage, Saint Immortal. It's over. In Heavenly Star City, Aquamoon Fairy, the brilliant Void Alliance's leader, the Killer God Sun, Zheng Jiqiang, Songqing, and the others turned gloomy when they sensed Di Lingtian's aura. How were they supposed to fight him? That was a late-stage Saint Immortal. Were Ningyu and Ning Lu strong? Yes, very strong. But no matter how strong Ningyu and Ninglu were, they were only early-stage Saint Immortals. Early-stage Saint Immortals could not even withstand a single move from a late-stage Saint Immortal. Ningyu, relax your mind. Ninglu's expression was solemn. He sent a voice transmission to Ningyu, don't resist at all. All right, Ningyu did not ask why. He immediately relaxed his mind and did not put up any defenses against Ninglu. Buzz! 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 Ninglu turned into an afterimage and tunneled into Ningyu's sea of consciousness. As soon as he entered the consciousness, Ninglu released all the energy in his body. Almost in the blink of an eye, Ningyu's cultivation base soared from peak virtual immortal to half-step peerless immortal. It was obvious. Ninglu wanted to give up his own energy to help Ningyu ascend to peerless immortal. Ninglu knew better than anyone that once Ningyu ascended to peerless immortal, even Di Lingtian, a late-stage Saint Immortal, would not be a match for Ningyu. Everyone retreat. The Red Devil shouted as he flew out of the Red Devil's sword when he saw Ningyu's state. He knew very well. When Ningyu was undergoing his virtual immortal tribulation, the power of the tribulation clouds was comparable to the potential of a peak peerless immortal. One could imagine how powerful Ningyu's peerless immortal tribulation would be if he wanted to trigger it now. Getting closer to Ningyu meant getting closer to death. Humph. It's not that easy to ascend to peerless immortal. Di Lingtian snorted when he sensed Ningyu's aura increasing. He made a grabbing motion with his right hand, and a cold gleam shot out. The cold light streaked across the air and then fiercely blasted towards Ningyu's heart. Di Lingtian's cultivation had reached the late-stage Saint Immortal stage with a secret art. Even if it was a casual strike, its power was extremely powerful. Swoosh! Ning, you would not foolishly block the incoming cold gleam head-on. He tilted his body and barely dodged the attack. Rumble! Meanwhile, the void trembled, and black tribulation clouds appeared above Ningyu's head. Damn it! Di Lingtian cursed inwardly when he saw the tribulation clouds in the sky. Although he'd used a secret art to raise his cultivation to the late-stage Saint Immortal stage, he did not dare enter the range of Ningyu's tribulation clouds right now. He realized that Ningyu's peerless immortal tribulation was comparable to his Saint Immortal tribulation. There were many imperial princes among the Sky Fiends. Only the top-ranked imperial princes' peerless immortal tribulations could match his Saint Immortal tribulation. If Ningyu could do the same, didn't that mean that Ningyu's strength was equivalent to the top-ranked imperial princes? I can't let him ascend to peerless immortal. Di Lingtian made up his mind. No matter what trump card he used, he couldn't let Ningyu ascend to peerless immortal realm. Rolling his eyes, Di Lingtian spat viciously. Ningyu, take your time to break through to peerless immortal. I'll kill everyone in Heavenly Star City first, then come back and fight you. Chapter 2240. Is that so? Ningyu abruptly opened his eyes. A beam of light shot out of them and shot toward Di Lingtian at a terrifying speed. Swoosh! As soon as he attacked, Ningyu immediately stomped on the ground and charged into the void. Rumble! Countless bolts of tribulation lightning converged in midair to form a giant tribulation cloud. Ningyu's expression was calm. His fist brought along a majestic gale as it blasted out. Damn it! Di Lingtian couldn't help but curse inwardly when he saw the beam of light coming at him and Ningyu charging toward the tribulation cloud. But there was nothing he could do in this situation. The most important thing to him was to block the beam of light coming at him, not stop Ningyu from breaking through to peerless immortal. Left with no other choice, Di Lingtian chose to deal with the beam first, then Ningyu. I wonder if Ningyu will be able to break through to peerless immortal. Humph! With Ningyu's talent, breaking through to Peerless Immortal is a piece of cake. That's right. Doubting Ningyu is the biggest mistake you'll ever make in your life. In Skystar City, a pessimistic cultivator instantly became the target of everyone's attacks. Ningyu had long since become the hero of Skystar City. Without Ningyu, Skystar City would have ceased to exist a long time ago. That was why most people in the city chose to believe in Ningyu without hesitation. Di Lingtian is about to break through to the Radiant stage. Among them, Aquamarine Fairy and Brilliant Void's alliance had focused on different things. They weren't worried about whether Ningyu could break through to Peerless Immortal. What they cared about was when Di Lingtian would break through to the Radiant stage. The beam of light shooting out of Ningyu's eyes was powerful, but it could only stop Di Lingtian for 10 breaths at most. In other words, if Ningyu couldn't overcome the Peerless Immortal tribulation in 10 breaths, only death awaited them. By then, not only would they die, even the entire Stellar Sky City would be massacred. Humph, you want to stop me with these little tricks? It's no different from a fool's dream. 10 breaths quickly passed. Di Lingtian snorted coldly, then tore open the void and entered. When he reappeared, Di Lingtian had already arrived in front of Stellar Sky City. He raised his hands and pressed them down. As Di Lingtian's hands pressed down, a terrifying gust of immortal chi blew. Protective barrier. Up. The Brilliant Void Alliance Master turned pale with fright and immediately roared. All members of Skystar City, if you don't want to die, inject your immortal chi into the protective shield. Buzz. Who wanted to die? Even those who had lost hope in life would not want to be squeezed to death in such a way. They immediately relaxed their minds, and the immortal chi in their bodies surged out, injecting into the immortal chi barrier. Kacha! Di Lingtian's first strike landed on the protective shield. It merely caused a crack to appear on the protective shield, but it did not shatter. Di Lingtian could not help but raise his brows as he did not manage to break the protective barrier with one strike. He was well aware of the principle that ants could bite an elephant to death. With so many people in Stellar Sky City, if they worked together, it would take him at least a few minutes to break the barrier. He turned to look at Ningyu, who was still trying to break through to Peerless Immortal in the air, and fell into deep thought. Although he could break the barrier if he continued to attack, it would be too late. All of a sudden, Di Lingtian thought of an idea. He looked back at the remaining Sky Fiend and said, "Attack Ningyu." Hearing Di Lingtian's words, the remaining heavenly demon's eyes widened, and he even stuttered when he spoke. He was no idiot. What was the difference between entering Ningyu's tribulation clouds and courting death? However, he knew Di Lingtian's ruthlessness very well. If he disobeyed, the only result would be death. Rather than staying in certain death, he might as well take a gamble. As the saying went, a bicycle could turn into a motorcycle with a gamble. What if he won? Not only would he gain Di Lingtian's trust and become his most trusted slave, but he might also break through to the Saint Immortal realm. Danger and reward coexisted. Screw it! Gritting his teeth, the Sky Fiend stomped on the ground and shot toward Ningyu. Rumble. Crack. Alas, while his dreams were plentiful, reality was harsh. As soon as the Sky Fiend entered the boundary of the Peerless Immortal tribulation, a terrifying tribulation cloud descended from the 9 heavens and slammed into his head. The tribulation cloud's power reached the terrifying early stage Saint Immortal realm. With his peak Peerless Immortal cultivation, he would die on the spot if he was struck by the tribulation cloud. Save me, master. He couldn't help but cry out in the face of danger, hoping Di Lingtian would come and save him. However, why would Di Lingtian come and save him? Di Lingtian's original intention was for him to delay Ningyu's tribulation and buy himself enough time to attack the barrier. Knowing that Di Lingtian had given up on him, the Sky Fiend roared. But before he could finish, The Sky Fiend was struck in the head by the tribulation cloud and died on the spot. Although the Sky Fiend had died in battle, he bought Di Lingtian a minute of time. Crack, crack, crack! Di Lingtian clenched his fists and punched the barrier above Heavenly Star City. Uft, 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 uft. Under Di Lingtian's attacks, many low-level cultivators in Heavenly Star City were sent flying, coughing up mouthfuls of blood. Their breaths were weak. Get out of my way! Di Lingtian yelled again. Not only did he punch with his hands, but he also punched with his feet. Both his hands and legs struck out at the same time. In just a minute, the immortal energy barrier above Tianqing City had many cracks. At this rate, the celestial Qi protective shield would shatter in at most 3 breaths of time. First breath. Di Lingtian clenched his right fist and punched the barrier. Crack! A huge crack appeared on the barrier, and it teetered on the verge of collapse. Second breath. Di Lingtian raised his right foot and kicked the barrier. Crack! The crack widened again. The virtual immortals and peerless immortals maintaining the barrier fell to the ground one after another. Only a few peerless immortals were holding on bitterly. Third breath. And the last breath. Di Lingtian grabbed at the void with both hands. In an instant, a golden light the size of a fist appeared and attacked the barrier at a terrifying speed. Rumble. The barrier that everyone was holding on bitterly cracked from the middle. Uft, uft, uft. Water Moon Fairy, the Dark Emperor, the brilliant Void Alliance leader, the Killer God Child, and the other powerhouses fell to the ground, their breaths dropping to freezing point. Humph. You overestimate yourself. Seeing the protective barrier break, Di Lingtian snorted coldly and said disdainfully, All those who go against me have only one outcome, and that is death. I wanted to spare your lives, but you're on good terms with Ningyu. I have no choice but to send you to hell. As Di Lingtian spoke, he gathered the immortal Qi in his body on his fist, ready to punch. Seeing Di Lingtian's action, Chapter 2241. How strong was Di Lingtian? He forced Ningyu to take a step back and forcefully break through to Peerless Immortal. Now that the immortal energy protection barrier was shattered, how could they, these people who did not have the strength to truss a chicken, go and fight with Di Lingtian? Remember this in your next life. There are some people you can't afford to offend in your entire life. Di Lingtian appeared in front of Shui Weferi in the blink of an eye. His fist brought with it a violent gust of immortal Qi and slammed into Shui Weferi's head. That punch, it was heavy and powerful. If Shui Weferi was hit, she would definitely die on the spot. I hate that I can't avenge myself. Resentment flashed in Shui Weferi's eyes. She carried a blood feud with her, but now she was going to die in Di Lingtian's hands. How could she not be angry? Oh no. However, Di Lingtian's expression changed drastically before his fist even hit Shui Weferi. He retreated without hesitation. Buzz! Di Lingtian had only retreated a few steps when he heard a gust of wind. Damn it! Cursing inwardly, Di Lingtian had no choice but to block the attack with his right hand. Crack! After that one move, Di Lingtian retreated a long distance before stabilizing himself. He looked coldly at the cultivator shrouded in black mist and said in a low voice, Who are you? Why did you get involved? Who am I? How long has it been? Don't you recognize me already? The black mist dissipated. A skinny martial artist appeared in Di Lingtian's line of sight. Ningyu, Di Lingtian said through gritted teeth. Di Lingtian would never have thought that the cultivator shrouded in black mist was Ningyu. Wasn't Ningyu undergoing his peerless immortal tribulation? Why was he here? All sorts of questions arose in Di Lingtian's mind. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Ningyu shrugged. I passed my peerless immortal tribulation and ascended to the peerless immortal realm. Humph. So what if you become a peerless immortal? D. Lingtian scoffed. You're an early stage, peerless immortal, and I'm a late stage, saint immortal. Killing you is as easy as killing a dog. As soon as he finished, whoosh, D. Lingtian transformed into an afterimage and flashed towards Ningyu. I'll show you what true power is. All the immortal energy in D. Lingtian's body gathered on his wrist as he threw a punch towards Ningyu. In order to kill Ningyu in one move, D. Lingtian practically used up all of his strength. His cultivation was on the verge of dropping to the initial stage of the Saint Immortal realm, and if he was unable to kill Ningyu now, then he would fall into a state of eternal damnation. Power? Hee, you know nothing about power. Ningyu smiled. However, there was a hint of coldness in her eyes. Ning Lu had expended a great deal of energy in exchange for Ningyu's status as a peerless immortal. You could say so. Without Ning Lu, Ningyu would never have ascended to peerless immortal. At this moment, Ning Lu was still in a deep sleep. No one knew when he would wake up. Buzz! Energy roiled within him as Ningyu used the war god body. The dark gold blood in his heart surged and flowed through his entire body. After ascending to the peerless immortal realm, Ningyu's talent was put to full use. Ningyu's talent had increased several times in the recent period of time. First, he devoured D. Wintian's talent. Then he'd borrowed the Ice Moon Fairy's power. 2 increments in innate talent allowed Ning use current innate talent to reach a terrifying level. Only peerless immortals could perfectly unleash the power of their talent. I know nothing about power. When I killed someone, you were still in your mother's womb, D. Lingtian said sinisterly. However, at this moment, Ningyu's fist was already in front of D. Lingtian. The voice stopped abruptly. D. Lingtian had no choice but to meet Ningyu's fist head-on. Crack! A crisp sound rang out. It was just a single exchange. D. Lingtian's fist was smashed into pieces. At the same time, his body retreated hurriedly. Swoosh! How could Ningyu stop now that his attack had succeeded? He gave chase and arrived in front of D. Lingtian in the blink of an eye. He clenched his right fist and punched again. Crack! Another crisp sound rang out in the sky above Sky Star City. Ah! This time, the crisp sound was accompanied by a cry of agony. Retreat! D. Lingtian was smart. Losing 2 moves in a row made him realize the gap between him and Ningyu. Even though his cultivation had reached the late-stage Saint Immortal realm, he was still no match for Ningyu. If he didn't leave now, he would probably die with a grievance when Ningyu caught up to him again. Ningyu, the mountains will never change, and the rivers will always flow. We will meet again. D. Lingtian didn't forget to leave a threat before leaving. Since you're here, there's no need to leave. Ningyu's indifferent words came out of his mouth. As soon as he finished, Ningyu arrived in front of D. Lingtian and punched out. No. D. Lingtian couldn't help but roar as he looked at the fist that was expanding in front of him. Bang! In a split second, D. Lingtian's head was blasted open and blood and flesh splattered everywhere. Hiss! In Sky Star City, everyone gasped when they saw Ningyu killing D. Lingtian. Swoosh! But soon everyone cheered. Killing D. Lingtian meant that the calamity of Sky Star City was resolved. Good job, Ningyu. Ningyu, I like you. I want to bear your children. You're so ugly. I'll bear Ningyu's children. I'll bear a bunch of monkeys. You're big and burly. You're as pretty as a flower. Ha ha ha! The joy of victory filled everyone's face. Ning, you killed D. Lingtian with his own strength. Even in the super forces, it was difficult for someone of the same age to achieve such a feat. I suggest that Ning, you be the next Alliance Master of Brilliant Void. At this moment, the Alliance Master of Brilliant Void said loudly, I'm old and not suitable to be the Alliance Master of Brilliant Void Alliance. I hereby resign from the position and will be replaced by Ningyu. I agree, Water Moon Fairy said. I agree. The killing god's son nodded. Good, good, good. Let Ningyu be the Alliance Master of Brilliant Void. We all agree. Ningyu is young and promising with outstanding strength. He should be the Alliance Master of Brilliant Void. Other than Ningyu, I won't accept anyone else as the Alliance Master. The people in Tianxing City had found another outlet to vent their frustrations. After the war, everyone needed to release and vent. However, everyone's method was different. You won't accept anyone else as the Alliance Master? Then go to hell. All of a sudden, a giant palm appeared in the void and punched the early stage essence immortal martial artist who spoke last. What? The early stage essence immortal martial artist's pupils constricted, and he could not help but retreat. Humph. In fact, Ningyu had long discovered that someone was hiding in the void and was waiting for an opportunity to make a move. The reason why he did not respond to the crowd was that his attention had been on the void. Now that he saw someone making a move, he snorted and said, Sword! Swoosh! In the blink of an eye, a blood-red flying sword appeared in front of him. Go, Ningyu said indifferently. Swoosh! Chapter 2242. Humph. You overestimate yourself. A cold snort suddenly came from the void. Then, the giant palm disappeared, and a young martial artist in purple slowly appeared before everyone's eyes. Ding! The martial artist in purple grabbed the void with his right hand. In an instant, a cold gleam shot out and collided with the blood-red flying sword. A crisp sound rang. The blood-red flying sword seemed to be heavily injured and fell straight to the ground. Swoosh! It was a critical moment. Ningyu's figure flashed and caught the blood-red flying sword before it fell to the ground. Uft! Inside the blood-red flying sword, Hong Mo felt a tightness in his chest and spat out a mouthful of blood. That's right. The blood-red flying sword was the Red Fiend's sword. Be careful. He's stronger than Ling Tian. Hong Mo wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and reminded Su Zimo, recuperate well. Ningyu nodded and told Hong Mo not to worry too much. Even if the martial artist in purple was stronger than Ling Tian, Ningyu was fearless. There was no other reason. After advancing to the peerless immortal realm, Ningyu's overall strength had increased by several times. Moreover, Ning Lu had transferred all his energy to him, causing his current combat strength to be comparable to an ordinary peak late-stage Saint Immortal martial artist. Ling Tian's overall strength had only risen to the late-stage Saint Immortal realm after using his trump card. Ningyu could easily kill Ling Tian, so he was naturally confident that he could kill the martial artist in purple. Decent strength. The purple-clad cultivator slowly landed in front of Heavenly Star City. First, he sized up Ningyu. Then he shrugged his shoulders and said, Kneel down and kowtow a few times. If I am in a good mood, I might spare your life. Ningyu looked at the martial artist in purple like he was an idiot and said, Have you lost your mind? To be honest, Ningyu really could not understand why the martial artist in purple was so confident. They hadn't even fought, and he was already saying such arrogant words. The purple-clothed martial artist did not get angry because of Ningyu's mockery. Instead, he smiled faintly and continued, Just now, when you exchanged blows with that Ling Tian, I saw the entire process. Ling Tian, that trash, couldn't even last 3 moves in my hands. In the Tyrant Destruction Weave, I've killed at least a dozen trash like Ling Tian. Hearing this, Ningyu had a thought. Destroy the Tyrant Weave? Wasn't the brocade-robed martial artist controlling Fairy Aqua, Moon, the one who destroyed the Tyrant Weave? Could it be that the purple-clothed cultivator before him was related to the embroidered clothed cultivator? All kinds of doubts grew in Ningyu's heart. However, Ningyu quickly regained his composure. Even if the purple-robed cultivator came from the tyrant destruction weave, it had nothing to do with him. If it wasn't for the fact that he was afraid that the martial artists of Stellar Sky City would be implicated if they fought here, he would have already killed the purple-clothed martial artist. Stellar Sky City had just experienced a calamity, and both the peerless immortals and virtual immortals had suffered heavy losses. It was very difficult for Stellar Sky City to experience another great war at this time. Tisk tsk. What a pity. The purple-clothed martial artist looked at Ningyu, expressing his regret. If you hadn't killed that trash from my family, perhaps we could have been friends. It was obvious. Not only did the purple-clothed martial artist and the brocade-robed cultivator come from the tyrant destruction weave, but they were also from the same family. Since they were from the same family, it was understandable that the purple-clothed martial artist wanted to avenge the brocade-robed cultivator. Servants of the He clan, what are you waiting for if you don't come out now? The purple-clothed martial artist shifted his gaze from Ningyu to Stellar Sky City. In a clear voice, he said, "The masters you've been protecting are all dead. From now on, you can follow me. With me taking care of you, you can continue to live in the He clan." Swish, swish, swish. Not long after the purple-clothed martial artist finished speaking, several figures scuttled out of Stellar Sky City. The two leading them were the scarred martial artist and the beautiful lady. Previously, Ningyu was afraid of causing unnecessary trouble, so he didn't kill the scarred martial artist and the beautiful lady. Instead, he imprisoned them in Stellar Sky City. Who would have thought they actually broke out of the blockade? He still has helpers. Ningyu's expression changed slightly. He might not be afraid of a purple-clothed martial artist, and he could even kill him easily if he used all his trump cards. However, if the purple-clothed martial artist had helpers, then the situation would be very dangerous. Swish! It seemed to confirm Ningyu's guess. In an instant, two figures scuttled out of Stellar Sky City. Hiss! Everyone, including Ningyu, gasped when they saw the two figures that suddenly appeared. These two figures were not weak at all. He-Ming, He-Hai, you two have been hiding in Stellar Sky City for so long. Your plan has finally succeeded. Seeing the two martial artists appear, the purple-clothed martial artist smiled faintly. Now that He-Chang has been killed, the He clan head will be chosen from the two of you. He-Hong, stop making sarcastic remarks. He-Ming's expression was cold as he said in a low voice, "Hurry up and kill Ningyu. Then bring He-Chang's slaves back to Tyrant Destruction Weave. If we delay, there will be changes. Return to Tyrant Destruction Weave as soon as possible," He-Hai said coldly. Not interesting at all. He-Hong shrugged and said indifferently, "I will kill Ningyu, but you two have to take that lady away." As he spoke, He-Hong pointed at the Water Moon Ferry in Stellar Sky City. Crack, crack, crack. Ningyu's expression instantly turned cold. He clenched his fists so tightly that they made cracking sounds. If He-Hong didn't target the Water Moon Ferry, he might have spared He-Hong's worthless life. But now he had made up his mind to kill He-Hong no matter what, no matter the cost. Kill. Ningyu didn't waste any time. His figure flashed, and he immediately rushed out. At first, Ningyu's speed was very slow, but as time passed, he became faster and faster. In the end, he turned into a shadow and appeared in front of He-Hong. "I'll let you see my true strength." He-Hong sneered. He clenched his right fist and punched out. Bang! The two fists collided. Ningyu and He-Hong retreated several feet at the same time. I'll say it again. You're not my match. Killing you is as easy as blowing off dust. He-Hong's lips curled up, and he said sinisterly, "Remember in your next life, don't what?" However, He-Hong's voice stopped abruptly halfway through a sentence. He found that Ningyu had appeared in front of him again. His pupils shrank. He didn't have time to think and immediately retreated. Uft. However, at this time, It was clearly too late for He Hong to retreat. After Ningyu appeared, he immediately clenched his right fist and punched at He Hong's heart. Crack! The fist pierced through He Hong's heart, directly piercing through his heart. He Hong's face was full of disbelief as his heart ruptured. He lowered his head and looked at the hole in his chest. He extended his right hand and pointed at Ningyu. He wanted to say something, but before he could say anything, his body fell backward. Chapter 2243. Swoosh! He Hong's tragic death caused everyone present to suck in a breath of cold air. The people from the Kuin-Su alliance were still fine. After all, they had some understanding of Ningyu's strength. However, the people from the He clan from the Tyrant Destruction Weave were in disbelief, especially He Ming and He Hai. Both of them were dumbfounded. When Ningyu killed Di Lingtian, they did not appear. Instead, they were in Heavenly Star City to save the cultivator with the scar and the beautiful woman. Now that they saw He Hong killed in one move, how could they not be shocked? It had to be known. They were much weaker than He Hong. Even someone as strong as He Hong was killed in one move, let alone them. Whoosh! After killing He Hong in one move, Ningyu could not help but heave a sigh of relief. He was only able to kill He Hong because He Hong was careless. Otherwise, he would have to use up a lot of energy to kill He Hong. He might even have to use all his trump cards. Think about it. If he used all his trump cards when killing He Hong, wouldn't it be very dangerous to deal with He Ming and He Hai later? I'll give you a chance to live. Ningyu crossed his arms in front of his chest and turned to look at He Ming and He Hai. He said calmly, "Open your mind and submit to me." He Ming and He Hai looked at each other. They could see the deep shock in each other's eyes. They had two choices now. First, open your mind and submit to Ningyu. Second, run. However, in the process of running, Ningyu might catch up to them and kill them. We'll split up. After thinking for a while, He Ming said, "You go left, I'll go right." "No, you go left, I'll go right." He Hai seemed to agree with running, but his escape route was slightly different from He Ming's. "I'm the big brother. What I say goes," He Ming said coldly. At times like this, the big brother should give way to the little brother. He Hai did not buy it. They both knew. Whoever ran to the left would attract Ningyu's attention and buy enough time for the other person. But at the moment of life and death, who wouldn't want to live? Then we can only submit to Ningyu. He Ming rolled his eyes, then turned to look at Ningyu and said in a clear voice, "We are willing to submit to you, but you must promise not to kill us and not to make us do things that are beyond our capabilities." Ningyu looked at He Ming and the others coldly, not saying a word. Damn it! He Ming knew what Ningyu meant. He couldn't help but curse in his heart. "Split up and run." Gritting his teeth, He Ming said coldly, "I'll take the left, you take the right." "Big brother." How Hai said in shock. Bang! However, just as He Hai was about to feel touched, he felt a huge force on his buttocks. Obviously, He Ming kicked him in the butt, sending him flying toward Ningyu. As for He Ming himself, he darted to the right. "Little brother, as long as you are dead, I will be the only heir of the He clan." As He Ming ran, he said coldly, "Today I will teach you a lesson. Sometimes you can't even trust your own brothers." You. He Hai was shocked to the extreme. He had never thought that He Ming would betray him. However, He Hai reacted quickly. He immediately stopped and knelt on the ground. Thump! Due to the great force, He Hai's knee made contact with the ground, making a loud sound. "I am willing to submit to you, as long as you kill He Ming for me." He Hai's face revealed a resolute expression. "Are you sure you want to submit to me?" Ningyu did not chase He Ming. He slowly came to He Hai's side and asked. The reason why Ningyu did not chase He Ming was that even if he caught up to He Ming, it would take some time to kill him. During this period of time, He Hai might be able to escape. Actually, to Ningyu, there was not much difference whether he controlled He Ming or He Hai. Either way, He Hai and He Ming were from the same clan. Controlling one or controlling two, it was not much different. Yes. He Hai nodded his head hard and said viciously, but I only have one condition. That is to kill He Hai personally. As if noticing the displeasure on Ningyu's face, He Hai hurriedly said, Don't misunderstand. Even though I've been hiding in Heavenly Star City, I haven't killed a single person from Heavenly Star City. Also, I have a very good disposition. I never kill the innocent indiscriminately. Stop! Stop! Ningyu waved his hand and said impatiently, I don't want to listen to your nonsense. Relax your mind first. All right then. Helpless. He Hai could only completely relax his mind. Swish! Ningyu flicked out a streak of soul force with his finger, entering He Hai's sea of consciousness in a blink of an eye. Just as the soul force entered the sea of consciousness, He Hai's expression completely dimmed. Right now, his life was completely under Ningyu's control. As long as Ningyu wanted to kill him, he had no chance of survival. Of course, if a heavenly lord was willing to contact the soul force left behind by Ningyu in his sea of consciousness for him, then he might be able to get rid of Ningyu. Otherwise, he would have to live under the shadow of Ningyu for the rest of his life. It seems that you are quite experienced. Ningyu looked at He Hai with a faint smile and said, After controlling He Hai, Ningyu naturally looked into his memories. In He Hai's memories, Ningyu found that He Hai had some special hobbies. For example, some emperors of countries liked harems of 3,000 beauties. However, He Hai liked harems of 30,000 beauties. Of course, with He Hai's strength and status, a harem of 30,000 beauties was not a lot at all. However, the key point was that the beauties that He Hai found were not humans. To be precise, He Hai's beauties were not humans, but demonic beasts. He Hai scratched his head awkwardly. Don't worry. When I catch He Ming, I will hand him over to you. Ningyu said, Thank you. He Hai cupped his fists. He Ming was cruel and unscrupulous. They had agreed to escape together, but he pushed him into the fire pit. Oh, right. I have something to trouble you with. Ningyu pointed to the scarred martial artist and the beautiful lady on the other side and said, Go kill them all. Yes. He Hai agreed to Ningyu's request without hesitation. The scarred martial artist and the beautiful lady were He Chang's slaves. The reason why he saved them was that he wanted to use them to take over He Chang's remaining forces. He Chang might not be strong, but there are many people who supported him in the He clan. Whoever could take over his forces would become the most advantageous candidate for the next family head of the He clan. Uft, uft. He Hai was ruthless. In just an instant, he killed more than a dozen experts, leaving only the scarred martial artist and the beautiful lady. No, no, no. Don't kill me. I can tell you a secret. Seeing that He Hai wanted to kill him, the scarred martial artist hurriedly said, He Chang is only a candidate for the next family head of the He clan on the surface. The real next family head has long been decided internally. It is He Hong who was killed by Ningyu. Chapter 2244. What? Memory crystal? Hearing the scarred martial artist's words, He Hai's expression changed drastically. Memory crystals were extremely precious. Even the He clan only had 3 of them. Moreover, the He clan had a clear rule. Only the clan leader was allowed to carry the memory crystal. He Hong had yet to become the clan leader. Why would he carry the memory crystal? That's right. The martial artist with the scar said hurriedly, The memory crystal has already sent the scene of the battle to the He clan. If I'm not wrong, you've already become the He clan's wanted fugitives. It's over. It's all over. He Hai's expression turned gloomy. In the Tyrant Dominion, the He clan was a Heavenly Lord clan. Although there were no Heavenly Lords in the He clan now, There had been heavenly lords in ancient times. Even a peak-sane immortal would not be able to escape unscathed after being targeted by a heavenly lord clan. At this moment, Ningyu looked at the martial artist with the scar and said indifferently, "What you've said is not enough to save your life." The martial artist with the scar was slightly stunned. He had already said that He Hong was the appointed patriarch of the He clan. Moreover, he had also said that He Hong had a memory crystal. In his opinion, these two secrets were enough to save his life. "If there are no other secrets, I'll have to apologize to you." Ningyu shrugged, and then he waved his hand at He Hai and said, "Kill him. It's a waste of food to keep him alive." "Yes," He Hai replied weakly. Crack! Then He Hai clenched his right fist and punched the martial artist with the scar's head. In a split second, the martial artist with the scar's head exploded and his flesh and blood flew everywhere. "I know another secret." The pretty lady's eyes flickered and she gritted her teeth. "More than half of the He clan's elites are trapped in the evil spirit battlefield. Anyway, the He clan's higher-ups have already found out that you killed He Hong. Why don't you strike first and kill them all in the evil spirit battlefield?" Ning Yu raised his eyebrows. He had heard of the evil spirit battlefield. The buffer zone between the upper-class territories and the heavenly demons was the extraterritorial battlefield. The buffer zone between the supreme weaves and the otherworldly demons was the evil spirit battlefield. Relatively speaking, the heavenly demons in the extraterritorial battlefield could not be compared to the evil spirit battlefield. In the evil spirit battlefield, the lowest level of a sky fiend was essence immortal. In the depths of the evil spirit battlefield, there were even heavenly demons of the Lord of Heaven realm. The beautiful woman wanted to trick him into going to the evil spirit battlefield to die. As expected, he didn't have any good intentions. As if noticing the anger on Ningyu's face, the beautiful woman hurriedly took out a sheepskin scroll from her bosom and threw it to Ningyu. "This is a map of the He clan's movements within the evil spirit battlefield. Their ultimate goal is the evil god valley within the evil spirit battlefield. It is rumored that the corpse of a heaven monarch realm sky demon is buried in the evil god valley. As long as we can find that corpse and bring it back to the clan He clan might be able to regain its former glory." "What do you mean?" He Hai could not help but ask. At this time, He Hai discovered that he knew nothing about the He clan's secret. Even He Chang's servant, the beautiful woman, knew so many secrets. As a direct descendant, he was actually kept in the dark. The He clan's founder, He Tianjun, still has his essence spirit, the beautiful woman said. "What?" He Hai jumped up immediately. "Essence spirit still exists?" For a heaven monarch realm expert, as long as the essence spirit existed, there was a possibility of resurrection. However, He Hai was a little puzzled. In the He clan's ancient records, it was clearly recorded that He Tianjun had been killed by the Sky Fiend millions of years ago. Why did his essence, spirit, still exist? He Chang told me all these things. My relationship with He Chang is very good, beyond imagination. He Chang will tell me anything about the He clan. The beautiful woman took the initiative to explain. "Pa." Ningyu reached out with his right hand and caught the sheepskin scroll firmly. After taking a quick look at the sheepskin scroll, Ningyu kept it in his bosom and said to the beautiful woman, "Very good for the time being." "No." Just as Ningyu was about to say, "Let the beautiful woman live," his expression changed drastically, because he realized that there was some excitement in the beautiful woman's eyebrows. There must be something fishy about it. Ningyu hurriedly took out the sheepskin scroll and threw it at the beautiful woman. Boom! Just as expected. As soon as the sheepskin scroll reached the beautiful woman, it suddenly exploded. The aftermath of the explosion was not too big, only about a meter in radius. "I can't accept this." At the moment before her death, the beautiful woman shouted, "How could you see through my plan?" "Because you are stupid and arrogant," Ningyu said indifferently. Uft! The beautiful woman's face was filled with indignation, and her body instantly turned into nothingness. Ningyu, is what she said true? Are the He clan's upper echelons all trapped in the evil spirit battlefield? After the beautiful woman died, He asked hesitantly, "What? You want to go to the evil spirit battlefield?" Ning Yu countered, "My father might be there." He gritted his teeth. "I want to go there. There's no hurry. Let's rest for a while first." Ning Yu waved his hand and walked straight to Sky Star City. Having just experienced a great battle, Ning Yu didn't want to leave just yet. What if another expert came back to Sky Star City after he left? He wanted to stabilize the city first. At the very least, he wanted the brilliant Void Lord and the God-slaying Sun to recover to their peak strength. Otherwise, he would never leave. All right. Since Ning, you didn't want to leave right away, He could only keep quiet. However, He wasn't particularly depressed. As long as Ning Yu didn't explicitly refuse, he could still wait for this time. Sky Star City, the brilliant Void Palace. Ning Yu sat at the head of the table. On his left were the brilliant Void Lord, the God-slaying Sun, and other peerless immortal experts. On his right were the Dark Emperor, the Red Devil, the Water Moon Fairy, Song Qing, and the others. In the following period of time, I hope that everyone will work together and strive to restore Stellar Sky City to its former glory. Ning Yu looked around and said in a deep voice, "Originally, Ning Yu didn't want to be the leader of Brilliant Void at all. After all, he was going to leave in a few days. It would just be a decoration." However, he couldn't resist everyone's pleading, so he nodded and agreed. However, Ning Yu named 2 deputy leaders. One was the Essence Immortal Brilliant Void Lord, and he would be the deputy leader. The other was the God-slaying Sun, who was also the deputy leader. This arrangement was the most reasonable, because Ning Yu wanted to leave with the Water Moon Fairy. Apart from him and the Water Moon Fairy, the strongest experts in the Brilliant Void Alliance were the God-slaying Sun and the Brilliant Void Lord. With them in charge of the Brilliant Void Alliance together, there wouldn't be any major mistakes. "Yes, Alliance Lord." Everyone in the palace replied in unison. "If there's nothing else, you can leave first." Ning Yu got up and walked out of the palace. Chapter 2245. Goddess Shueiyue's eyes flickered, but she still followed behind Ning Yu. Actually, Goddess Shueiyue had thought about leaving Ning Yu more than once, but for some reason, she didn't want to. Her emotions were so complicated that she didn't know what she was really thinking. "You've forgotten your brothers after having a woman." The Dark Emperor curled his lips when he saw Ning Yu and Goddess Shueiyue walk out side by side. Bam! The Red Devil rewarded the Dark Emperor with a chestnut. "Hurry up and cultivate. Ning, you killed a lot of Sky Fiends this time. If you can't reach peak Peerless Immortal, Ning Yu will beat your ass." The Red Devil snarled, "Hee, with so many Sky Fiends, it'll be easy for me to reach peak Peerless Immortal." The Dark Emperor chuckled and left in a hurry. The mouths of the Killer Godchild and the others twitched when they heard the conversation between the Dark Emperor and the Red Devil. It was truly infuriating to compare oneself to a dog. Before, the Dark Emperor had only been an ancestral immortal. It hadn't been long, but he'd already reached early stage Peerless Immortal. But that wasn't all. The Dark Emperor seemed to want to work hard to reach peak Peerless Immortal in the near future. For people like them, even reaching mid-stage Peerless Immortal was enough for them, let alone early-stage Peerless Immortal. The people around Ning Yu are all freaks, one scarier than the other. The God-slaying Sun left these words and then turned around to leave the hall. As the Deputy Lord of the Kungsu Alliance, the Killer Godchild had a heavy responsibility on his shoulders. The Kungsu Alliance was in a terrible mess, so he had to deal with it himself. As for the former Alliance Lord, he couldn't help Ning Yu after watching him fight. He had to prepare to break through to half-step Sane Immortal. Whoosh! Not long after, everyone in the conference hall dispersed in an uproar. As for Ningyu, he went to a room with Goddess Shueisha. "Tell me, what's going on with your parents?" After entering the room, Ningyu went straight to the chair and sat down. "You don't need to worry about my parents." Shueisha Fairy sat on the bed angrily and said coldly, "Ah!" Ningyu rubbed his nose. How had he offended her? A woman's heart was truly unfathomable. "Since you don't need my help, I'll leave first. After all, I still have a lot of things to do." With that, Ningyu got up and walked towards the door. "Get back here." However, before Ningyu walked out of the room, Water Moon Fairy said, "I can tell you about my parents, but you have to promise me that you can't tell anyone else." "I'm not an idiot. Why would I tell others?" Ningyu turned around and sat back down. He took a deep breath. Shueisha Fairy said, "Regarding my parents, I am actually not very clear myself. Ever since I could remember, there were scattered fragments in my mind. Although those fragments were very scattered, I knew that the mighty man in those fragments was my father, and the beautiful woman who was lying in a pool of blood was my mother." Ningyu listened quietly and did not speak. "Come here." Water Moon Fairy waved her hand and said, "What for?" Ningyu was startled and asked doubtfully, "If I tell you to come over, then come over. Why do you have so much nonsense to say?" Water Moon Fairy stood up and grabbed Ningyu's arm, throwing him onto the bed. "I'm not going to let you go." Ningyu hurriedly crossed his arms in front of his chest and said, "Don't act recklessly in broad daylight." Ningyu boasted that he was not a casual person, although Water Moon Fairy was very beautiful and the two of them had been husband and wife. But wasn't it a little inappropriate to do it now? "Mess around my ass." Water Moon Fairy's face darkened. She placed her palm on Ningyu's forehead and said, "Relax your mind. I will pass those fragments to you." Buzz buzz! An endless stream of fragments followed Ningyu's forehead and entered his mind. Hiss! Seeing the fragments that kept appearing, even though Ningyu was prepared, he could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. Not surprisingly, Water Moon Fairy's parents were definitely not heavenly monarchs. This was because Ningyu could roughly guess the strength of a heavenly monarch, and from those fragments, Ningyu basically knew that Water Moon Fairy's parents were both immortal kings. Immortal court? Suddenly, Ningyu discovered some clues from the fragments. When the beautiful woman fell into a pool of blood, in the reflection of the pool of blood, he could vaguely see a token. And the words on the token seemed to be Immortal Court. What is that place? Ningyu was puzzled. He had never heard of the Immortal Court. Could it be that the Immortal Court was a higher level plane? What? Hearing the words Immortal Court, Water Moon Fairy's mouth opened slightly, and she said in surprise, "You really saw the Immortal Court?" Ningyu nodded and said, "Pay attention to the reflection in the pool of blood." Water Moon Fairy hurriedly closed her eyes and observed the reflection in the pool of blood. This glance made Shueisha Fairy fall onto the bed, paralyzed. "There is no hope." Water Moon Fairy's face was full of despair. "Don't worry, as long as I am here, there is definitely hope." Ningyu comforted her. "Do you know what kind of place the Immortal Court is?" Water Moon Fairy asked. Ningyu shook his head. "The Immortal Court is a place that countless people dream of entering," Water Moon Fairy explained. "For millions of years, many peerless experts, even heavenly monarchs, have not been able to find the entrance to the Immortal Court. Rumor has it that the Immortal Court has long been closed and will never open again." "I don't think you should be so pessimistic," Ningyu said seriously. "So what if the Immortal Court is closed?" "Then we will work hard to cultivate. If we can't reach Heavenly Monarch, then we will cultivate to Immortal King. If we can't reach Immortal Emperor, then we will cultivate to Great Emperor. Anyway, when the time comes, I will bring you with me." Kill your way into the immortal court. You? Water Moon Fairy looked at Ningyu and pursed her lips. Your cultivation is only at the early peerless immortal stage, not even as high as mine. When can you cultivate to great emperor level? Don't hurt my feelings, okay? Ningyu said, rolling his eyes. It's not that I want to hurt your feelings, but with the endurance of our plane, Immortal King is already the limit. Even great emperors can only seal themselves. Otherwise, the slightest movement will shatter our plane. Water Moon Fairy explained. All right, but just because I can't cultivate to great emperor doesn't mean you can't. Ningyu said. In a few days, I plan to go to the evil spirit battlefield to hunt some heavenly demons of a saint immortal level. The evil spirit battlefield is too dangerous, Water Moon Fairy said with a frown. The more dangerous the place, the more opportunities there are. Ningyu smiled. Who knows? I might find the corpse of a heavenly monarch, level heavenly demon, in the evil spirit battlefield. If I refine it, my cultivation can reach Saint Immortal level. Let's see if you'll be too embarrassed to scold me then. Chapter 2246. After the Water Moon Fairy left, Ningyu did not go anywhere. Instead, he sat down cross-legged and began cultivating with a spell. Since he had decided to go to the unholy battlefield, it was impossible with his current strength. The unholy battlefield was extremely dangerous. Even the weakest sky fiends were elemental immortals. Although Ningyu could easily kill late-stage Saint Immortal Sky Fiends with his current combat strength, he could only run away from peak Saint Immortal Sky Fiends. He would not even be able to fight them. I have to raise my cultivation to mid-stage Peerless Immortal before going to the unholy battlefield. Ningyu made up his mind. He would only go to the unholy battlefield when he reached mid-stage Peerless Immortal. According to Ningyu's speculation, once he reached mid-stage Peerless Immortal, his overall strength would improve by leaps and bounds. By then, given his mid-stage Peerless Immortal cultivation, he could easily kill peak Saint Immortal Sky Fiends. Buzz! Ningyu began to refine the energy in his body. While Ningyu was fully focused on cultivating, the Killer God Sun was also in charge of the post-war reconstruction. Fortunately, after the great battle, everyone in the Stellar Sky City was tightly huddled together. The post-war reconstruction went smoothly. Drip, drip. Time passed by quickly. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Boom! On the 4th day, Ningyu suddenly opened his eyes. A terrifying aura erupted from his body and shot into the sky. What's going on? Another enemy attack? Inform the deputy. Level 1 alert. The entire Sky Star City was in chaos. After all, the aura Ningyu gave off was too terrifying. The Stellar Sky City had just recovered, and at this moment, no one wanted to experience another war. Swoosh! Calm down, everyone. It's not an enemy attack. The Killer God Sun flew into the air and said loudly, It's the leader, cultivating. Don't worry. So it's the leader, cultivating. I was wondering why there was such a terrifying aura. As expected of the Alliance Chief, this aura should be at the peak of the Saint Immortal stage, right? That's right. The Alliance Master is so young, yet his strength has already attained the peak of the Saint Immortal realm. With him as the Alliance Master, our Kuin Su Alliance might even have a chance to become a supreme territory. All of a sudden, the Stellar Sky City was in an uproar. Ningyu became everyone's topic of conversation. As the person involved, Ningyu did not have much emotional fluctuations. After 3 days of all-out cultivation, his cultivation had risen from early Peerless Immortal to mid-Peerless Immortal. His overall strength had risen to the point where he could fight against a heavenly demon at the peak of the Saint Immortal stage. Dong dong! At this moment, there was a knock on the door. Ningyu collected his thoughts, walked to the door, and pushed it open. The person outside the door was none other than the God Slayer's son. Has Stellar Sky City stabilized? Ningyu asked directly. It has stabilized, Killer God's son replied. Very good. Summon the senior members of the Kuin-Su Alliance to the conference hall. Ningyu nodded, then moved his feet and headed outside. Hearing Ningyu's words, the Godslayer's son did not dare tarry. He hastily took out a crystal ball and crushed it. Crack! After the crystal ball shattered, the senior members of the Kuin-Su Alliance, scattered throughout Stellar Sky City, all moved toward the conference hall with quick steps. Rustle! They were very efficient. They had all arrived not long after Ningyu entered the conference hall. All the peerless immortals of the Kuin-Su Alliance had come to the conference hall. I don't want to waste my breath. Ningyu looked around and announced loudly, I will set off for the unholy battlefield in the afternoon. Gasp! Everyone drew a sharp breath when they heard the name of the unholy battlefield. Any cultivator who had reached peerless immortal level would have heard of the Wraith battlefield. Alliance Master, should we go to the unholy battlefield? An early stage, peerless immortal asked carefully after a while. I won't force it. Ningyu answered. Whoosh! Everyone in the conference hall heaved a sigh of relief. They didn't dare go to the unholy battlefield. Peerless immortals like them wouldn't even survive a day there. After I leave, the Godslayer's son, Ningyu instructed. Alliance Master. However, halfway through Ningyu's sentence, the Godslayer's son raised a cupped fist salute. I want to go too. Ningyu was a little surprised. The Godslayer's son was only a late-stage peerless immortal. He wouldn't survive more than 3 days in the unholy battlefield. Bai Zhanfei will look after me here. I want to go out and explore. As if sensing Ningyu's confusion, the Godslayer's son explained. Bai Zhanfei is in seclusion. When he comes out, he'll probably be a half-step sane immortal. Given his feelings for the Kuin-Su Alliance, he'll probably choose to stay. Since you've made up your mind, I won't force you. Ningyu patted the Godslayer's son's shoulder. You can go to the unholy battlefield, but you'll have to listen to my orders in there. Of course. The Godslayer's son nodded gratefully. Take note of those who want to go to the unholy battlefield. Don't force them if they don't want to. Ningyu instructed, then moved toward where Bai Zhanfei was cultivating in seclusion. Bai Zhanfei was the former leader of the Kuin-Su Alliance. It didn't take long for Ningyu to arrive outside Bai Zhanfei's secluded room. As soon as he stopped, Ningyu raised an eyebrow. Bai Zhanfei didn't seem to be breaking through to half-step Sane Immortal. But Sane Immortal? Ningyu noticed that a lightning tribulation was about to descend from the heavens. Uft! However, the lightning tribulation didn't descend. Inside the secret chamber, Bai Zhanfei spat out a mouthful of blood. His peak aura dropped to freezing point. Oh no! Ningyu's expression changed slightly. He clenched his right fist and punched the secret chamber open. Swoosh! In a flash, Ningyu arrived beside Bai Zhanfei. He placed his right hand on Bai Zhanfei's back, and a steady stream of energy entered Bai Zhanfei's body through his palm. What's that? All of a sudden, Ningyu noticed a ball of black liquid at Bai Zhanfei's heart. The ball of black liquid was devouring Bai Zhanfei's heart. Go away! Bai Zhanfei was shocked when he realized that Ningyu was healing him. He shouted immediately, Don't let the black liquid entangle you. Swoosh! However, Bai Zhanfei's warning was too late. The black liquid seemed to have eyes of its own. It gave up on Bai Zhanfei's heart and entered Ningyu's palm, entangling Ningyu's heart. This is bad. Bai Zhanfei's pupils constricted. Ever since he advanced to the essence, immortal realm, the black liquid had appeared in his body. All these years he had been fighting against the black liquid. It could be said that, if not for the black liquid, his cultivation would have advanced to the Saint Immortal Realm or even the peak of the Saint Immortal Realm. Chapter 2247. What the hell is that? Ning Yu's expression changed slightly when he sensed the black liquid that was coiling around his heart. He realized that the black liquid was devouring his heart. If this situation continued, it wouldn't be long before his heart was pierced through. It was a critical moment. Ning Yu forced out a few drops of divine war body's blood with a single thought. Pissed. The moment the black liquid came into contact with the divine war body's blood, sizzling sounds were heard. Phew! Ning Yu heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that. Thankfully, he had awakened 100% of the divine war body's bloodline. Otherwise, the black liquid alone was enough to devour his heart. This is for you. Ning Yu had just suppressed the black liquid when Bai Zhanfei flicked his wrist and tossed a golden rock to him. Swallow it, it can suppress the black liquid. Piak! After catching the golden stone, Ning Yu examined it for a while before swallowing it. Ning Yu raised his brows the moment he swallowed the golden rock. He realized that the black liquid's devouring power was significantly weaker under the golden rock suppression. After stabilizing, Ning Yu looked at Bai Zhanfei and asked, "What's that black liquid?" "Sigh. That's the heaven-devouring demonic poison." Bai Zhanfei sighed softly and explained, "I've been corroded by the heaven-devouring demonic poison for many years. Thankfully, I have the heaven malevolent stone to alleviate it. Otherwise, I would have died a long time ago." Heaven-devouring demonic poison? Ning Yu raised his brows. He had never heard of the heaven-devouring demonic poison before. It must be a unique poison. The heaven-devouring demonic poison is a type of poison specially refined by the heavenly fiends. If ordinary martial artists were to be corroded by it, their talents would be crippled or they would die on the spot. Bai Zhanfei said, "Seems like I'm doing pretty well." Ning Yu smiled bitterly. He had the protection of the divine war body, and his talents were not crippled. Coupled with the heaven malevolent stone that Bai Zhanfei gave him, the heaven-devouring demonic poison did not have much of an effect on him. Buzz, buzz! Right then, a buzzing sound came from Bai Zhanfei. Ning Yu raised his eyebrows. He discovered that Bai Zhanfei actually showed signs of rejuvenation. Boom! Besides, not only was Bai Zhanfei getting younger, but his cultivation was also rising rapidly. Rumble! All of a sudden, a tribulation cloud that was as thick as a person's waist appeared in the void and descended fiercely. "I can't believe it." Ning Yu couldn't help but curse. Was Bai Zhanfei welcoming his second spring? Not only did he become younger, but he also welcomed the great tribulation of the Saint Immortal. Whoosh! Ning Yu was not a hothead. He did not dare to face Bai Zhanfei's great Saint Immortal tribulation head-on. Ning Yu's figure flickered as he dashed out. Rumble! In an instant, the tribulation cloud smashed down and blasted Bai Zhanfei's body. In the distance, Ning Yu looked at Bai Zhanfei, who was undergoing the heavenly tribulation, with a grave expression. He discovered that Bai Zhanfei's talent was comparable to his own. What did that mean? He only had his current talent because he devoured Di Wen Tian and the Water Moon Fairy's help. Otherwise, his current talent would be much weaker. Whoosh! 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 While Ning Yu was thinking, the Water Moon Fairy, the God-slaying child, the Dark Emperor, the Red Devil, and the others all flew over. Bai Zhanfei is that powerful. The God-slaying child stared at Bai Zhanfei, who was undergoing the heavenly tribulation in confusion. For many years, Bai Zhanfei had been elusive and his cultivation had been stuck at the peak of the peerless immortal realm. Logically speaking, even if Bai Zhanfei was talented, he should not have broken through to the Saint Immortal realm directly. His talent, the Water Moon Fairy, looked at Bai Zhanfei in midair and then at Ning Yu. However, she stopped abruptly when she saw Ning Yu. She sensed a terrifying aura from Ning Yu. "What's going on?" the Water Moon Fairy asked in a deep voice. "Nothing." Ning Yu smiled. "There's a small problem." With that, Ningyu looked away from the Water Moon Fairy and turned to the god-slaying child. Have the people around Bai Zhanfei been evacuated? Bai Zhanfei was undergoing the heavenly tribulation. Even the aftershocks were enough to kill ordinary, peerless immortals. In fact, Ningyu had immediately informed the god-slaying child to evacuate the people around him the moment the heavenly tribulation appeared. They've all been evacuated. The god-slaying child nodded, then said hesitantly, Bai Zhanfei. The god-slaying child's eyes were sharp. He remembered clearly that Bai Zhanfei was an old man. Why was he a young man now? Was he rejuvenating? All sorts of questions surfaced in the god-slaying child's mind. Don't worry, Bai Zhanfei will definitely succeed. Ningyu waved a hand, indicating for the god-slaying child to calm down. All right. The god-slaying child nodded, but his eyes were still fixed on Bai Zhanfei. The Water Moon Fairy glared at Ningyu and said nothing else. The Water Moon Fairy was too embarrassed to get to the bottom of things in front of the god-slaying child. However, the Water Moon Fairy was still worried. The aura on Ningyu made her heart palpitate. Rumble in the air. Bai Zhanfei waved his hands repeatedly, bombarding the tribulation clouds. None of the powerful tribulation clouds could get close to Bai Zhanfei. They were all destroyed when they were only a dozen meters away from him. Drip, drip. Time continued to pass. For hours. Bai Zhanfei's heavenly tribulation only ended after 4 hours. Swoosh. Bai Zhanfei descended from the air after the tribulation ended. I don't need the tribulation liquid for now. Bai Zhanfei tossed a spatial jade bottle to Ningyu. You're only a mid-stage peerless immortal. You should be able to break through to the late-stage, peerless immortal stage after consuming the tribulation liquid. Thank you. Ningyu did not reject Bai Zhanfei. He took the jade bottle and tossed it into his mouth. Crack! The jade bottle shattered, and the tribulation liquid flowed down Ningyu's throat and into his stomach. Bai Zhanfei's face darkened when he saw Ningyu's actions. Are you kidding me? He's going to swallow so much tribulation liquid. Don't make a fuss. Ningyu will swallow it, even if there's twice as much tribulation liquid. The Dark Emperor lifted a claw and patted Bai Zhanfei's shoulder. Your heavenly tribulation looks terrifying, but the tribulation liquid produced isn't as powerful as the one produced by Ningyu's heavenly tribulation. What? Bai Zhanfei was shocked. His talent had recovered to its peak ever since the black liquid had flowed out of his body. How terrifying was the tribulation liquid produced by the heavenly tribulation of a saint immortal? In his family, the tribulation essence produced by cultivators twice as talented as him wasn't as terrifying as the tribulation essence produced by his great saint immortal tribulation. Godslayer child, go get ready. We'll depart for the unholy battlefield in an hour. Ningyu waved his hand, gesturing for the Godslayer child to hurry back. Bai Zhanfei's tribulation had taken up 4 hours. They'd planned to depart for the unholy battlefield at noon, but it seemed like they'd have to delay it by an hour or 2. You're going to the unholy battlefield? Chapter 2248. Prince. Hearing that, everyone's expression changed. Among the heavenly fiends, the princes were mostly at the heavenly lord level. There was a saying that went like this: those below the heavenly lord level were ants. Although it was a bit exaggerated, it also proved how powerful a heavenly lord was. To put it simply, a heavenly lord and a sacred immortal were 2 completely different levels. No matter how many sacred immortals joined forces, they would definitely not be a match for a heavenly lord. That's right, there's a heavenly lord prince in the evil spirit battlefield. Bai Zhanfei nodded and said, in my opinion, you shouldn't go to the evil spirit battlefield. If you go now and meet that prince, the consequences will be unimaginable. If you have to go, you can wait for a few months. It won't be too late to go in a few months. It was obvious. Bai Zhanfei had a deep sense of fear for a heavenly Lord Prince. It'll be too late in a few months. Ningyu took a deep breath and said, "We have to go to the evil spirit battlefield as soon as possible. We can't delay the He family any longer." Ningyu knew that he had no choice but to go to the evil spirit battlefield. The fact that he killed the next family master of the He family, He Hong, was already recorded in the memory crystal. Everyone in the upper echelon of the He family knew about it. The reason why the He family didn't attack him was that most of the upper echelon was trapped in the evil spirit battlefield. Ning, you definitely wouldn't miss such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. After all, there wouldn't be another opportunity like this if he missed it. If that's the case, I'll go with you. Bai Zhanfei gritted his teeth. Bai Zhanfei still felt very guilty about the black liquid entering Ningyu's body. You need to stay and take care of the Kuan-Su alliance. Ningyu frowned. Just leave the Kuan-Su alliance to someone else. Bai Zhanfei waved his hand and said, "The Kuan-Su alliance is already on the right track. It doesn't matter if there's an alliance master or not." "All right, you can come with me." In the end, Ningyu agreed to Bai Zhanfei's request. In the entire Heavenly Star City, there were only two Saint Immortal Realm martial artists, Bai Zhanfei and Ning Lu. Right now, Ning Lu was recuperating, and it was unknown when he would recover to his peak state. As for Bai Zhanfei, he was currently in his peak state. His overall strength was comparable to a cultivator at the peak of the late Saint Immortal stage. According to Ningyu's guess, if he hadn't become a mid-stage Peerless Immortal, he might not have been as strong as Bai Zhanfei. Whoosh! Killing God's son quickly arranged everything and returned to Ningyu. "Other than you, no one else is willing to go to the evil spirit battlefield?" Ningyu asked when he saw the God-slaying son coming alone. The son of Killing God nodded and said, "The evil spirit battlefield is extremely dangerous. If they don't go, there's nothing I can do. If they don't go, that's exactly what I want." Ningyu rolled his eyes at the Killer God's son and said, "Let's go to the evil spirit battlefield immediately." Whoosh! During the conversation, Ningyu stomped on the ground and dashed forward. Behind him were the God-slaying son, the Water Moon Fairy Bai Zhanfei, the Dark Emperor, the Hong Demon, He Hai, and the others. Because the evil spirit battlefield was extremely dangerous, Ningyu didn't bring his parents or other friends with him this time. Beside him, there were only a few people who were stronger than the others. The evil spirit battlefield was a place where super dominions and sky fiends fought. It wasn't too close to Sky Star City. Although Ningyu and the others traveled at full speed and even took a few large teleportation formations along the way, it still took them more than 10 days to reach the entrance of the evil spirit battlefield. "Are you sure this is the entrance to the evil spirit battlefield?" Looking at the stone door covered by weeds, Ningyu's mouth opened slightly. He asked in confusion, "Bai Zhanfei, did you remember wrong?" "How could I remember wrong?" Bai Zhanfei moved and grabbed at the air with his right hand. A cold light was caught in his hand and flicked at the weeds. Whoosh! The weeds were instantly burned into nothingness by the cold light. "Let's go. The evil spirit battlefield is extremely dangerous. One wrong move and you'll be doomed." Raising his right foot, Bai Zhanfei stepped into the evil spirit battlefield first. Whoosh! Then, Ningyu was the second to enter the evil spirit battlefield. Water Moon Fairy, the killing son, He Hai, and the others followed closely behind and jumped into the evil spirit battlefield. Boom! As soon as he entered the evil spirit battlefield, Ningyu's first reaction was heat. It was extremely hot. Cold. His second reaction was cold. It was so cold that he was shivering. The combination of ice and fire. They were all in the evil spirit battlefield. But Ningyu's situation was a few times more intense than the others. Open. Ningyu naturally wouldn't use his body to resist the cold. Immortal qi gushed out of his body and burned continuously, trying to raise the temperature of his body. Uft. However, due to the black liquid in his heart, the cold air around Ningyu was abnormally terrifying. Sizzling sounds were heard. The killing sun and the others didn't dare to get close to Ningyu. "What's going on?" Water Moon Fairy asked, seeing Ningyu's cold and hot behavior. "Ice and fire airflow." Taking a deep breath, Bai Zhanfei explained, "There are many airflows in the evil spirit battlefield. The ice airflow can make one's body extremely cold. The fire airflow can make one's body extremely hot. As for the ice and fire airflow, it will make one feel like they are in a world of ice and fire." "How do we solve it?" the Dark Emperor asked. "Subdue the ice and fire airflow." Bai Zhanfei said, "Go." As soon as Bai Zhanfei said that, Ningyu, who was at the side, let out a low roar and forced the ice and fire airflow to his heart, fighting against the black liquid. Uft. However, not long after, Ningyu suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. To his surprise, the ice and fire airflow in his body was completely devoured by the black liquid. The heaven-devouring demonic poison is indeed extraordinary. Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, Ningyu said, "Let's go to Cloud Valley." "Ning, you didn't forget the purpose of this trip. To look for the He clan's higher-ups." Swoosh. However, Ningyu and the others had just advanced a short distance in the evil spirit battlefield when they ran into trouble. To be precise, they'd run into a large group of sky demons. All of them were early-stage, peerless immortals. The leading sky demon was a peak peerless immortal. "Stop!" The leading sky demon was dressed in blue. He raised his right hand and growled, "We've discovered humans up ahead. Squad 1, go and destroy them." Swoosh! A squad of about 30 early-stage, peerless immortals rushed out at the azure-robed Skydemon's command and formed a circular encirclement. "Kill!" As the green-robed celestial demon growled, the 30 early-stage, peerless immortal celestial demons unleashed fearsome techniques in unison. Thud, 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 thudning, you didn't make a move against the sky demons charging at him. Bai Zhanfei, the divine sun slaying Bai Zhanfei, attacked powerfully. It only took him 3 seconds to kill all 30 heavenly demons. Swoosh, swoosh. Next, the Dark Emperor and the Red Demon flew out and placed the bodies into the Red Demon's sword for Ning Lu to devour. Ning Lu's injuries were severe, and he urgently needed to devour a large amount of energy. Otherwise, given the Dark Emperor and the Red Demon's personalities, there was no way the energy would fall into Ning Lu's hands. Chapter 2249. Green-robed heavenly demon wants him alive. The rest is up to you. Ning Yu's expression was calm and emotionless. He understood. The killer god's son snickered and charged into the crowd of heavenly demons. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The rest, such as the Dark Emperor, the Red Devil, and He went to kill the heavenly demons with the killer god's son. As for Bai Zhanfei, he flew to the side of the heavenly demon, grabbed his shoulder, and brought him in front of Ningyu. You. The heavenly demon shouted angrily, "I am Heavenly Lord Kuba's man. If you dare to kill me, you will be going against Heavenly Lord Kuba." Heavenly Lord Kuba? Ningyu raised his eyebrows and said, "I don't care what kind of heavenly lord you are. If you want to live, answer my questions. Otherwise, I don't mind. Just kill me. I will not betray Heavenly Lord Kuba, even if I die." The heavenly demon interrupted Ningyu and said coldly, "Heavenly Lord Kuba has already taken control of the evil spirit battlefield. He will hold an evil spirit meeting in the Cloud Valley in a few days. All the heavenly demons will gather here. Damned humans, don't even think about escaping. How can there be such a stupid heavenly demon in this world?" Ningyu looked at the heavenly demon with his mouth slightly open. He could not believe what he had just heard. Before he could ask, the green-clothed heavenly demon had already revealed everything. "I'm stupid? Ha ha ha. I am just a small commander in the heavenly demon army. The real commander will be here soon. At that time, the heavenly demon raised his head and laughed wildly. Then he suddenly stopped and pointed into the distance. The commander is here. It's time for you to die. Swoosh! He looked in the direction of the heavenly demon's palm. He saw a heavenly demon in a white robe rushing toward him at a terrifying speed. Commander, save me. The green-clothed heavenly devil seemed to have found a life-saving straw, and he quickly shouted, "These stupid humans dare to disrespect Heavenly Lord Kuba. We must chop them into 8 pieces and throw them, Kacha!" Before the green-robed heavenly demon could finish his sentence, Bai Zhanfei had already broken his neck. In the end, even the green-robed sky fiend could not understand. Why did these foolish humans still dare to be so arrogant when the great commander was here? After all, the Grand Commander was a saint immortal. As far as he was concerned, the cultivations of Ningyu, Bai Zhanfei, and the others were at most the half-step saint immortal realm. I can't believe it. The commander wasn't someone to be trifled with. As an initial stage saint immortal realm, heavenly devil, how powerful was his perception? Although he couldn't detect Ningyu and Bai Zhanfei's cultivation, the aura that Bai Zhanfei emitted unintentionally made his heart palpitate. If he guessed correctly, Bai Zhanfei's strength was stronger than his. Therefore, if he didn't leave now, when would he? Xiao. As the saying goes, it is easy to come, but difficult to leave. How could Ningyu allow the commander to leave just like that? His figure flashed, and in the blink of an eye, he blocked the Grand Commander's path. Get out of my way! The commander clenched his right fist and punched at Ningyu's head with a violent gust of immortal chi. Bang! Ningyu casually waved his hand and grabbed the commander's fist firmly, causing the commander to be unable to move. Early stage, Saint Immortal Realm, cultivation. Ningyu exerted a little force in his palm and instantly crushed the commander's fist. I'll ask you a few questions. If you can answer them honestly, I can consider letting you go. The commander's eyes flickered and he finally nodded. Ask away. I'll definitely tell you everything I know. At least you know what's good for you. Ningyu was satisfied. A wise man submits to circumstances. Talking to such a person could save him a lot of trouble. First question. Is Heavenly Lord Kuba really in the evil spirit battlefield? Is he holding an evil spirit meeting to gather all the heavenly devils in the Cloud Valley? Ningyu stretched out a finger and asked. That's right. Heavenly Lord Kuba is invincible. He wants to unify the entire evil spirit battlefield and dominate it. The commander replied. Second question. Ningyu stretched out 2 fingers and said, why does the commander want to hold an evil spirit meeting? There are corpses of heavenly lords in the Cloud Valley. Heavenly Lord Kuba wants to dig them out, but he can't get close to the corpses with his ability. Therefore, he thought of a way to gather the energy of all the heavenly devils in the evil spirit battlefield and force the corpses out in one go. The great commander seemed to have fulfilled his promise and said everything he knew without holding anything back. I see. Ningyu frowned. If things were really like what the commander said, he might not have come at the right time. However, it was obviously too late to leave now. Swoosh! Ningyu was thinking. The commander suddenly stretched out his right hand and punched at Ningyu's head. The first commander's punch was extremely crafty, and it contained an extremely terrifying energy fluctuation. If Ningyu was unlucky enough to be hit, he would be severely injured at the very least. It was a critical moment. Ningyu lifted his right leg and kicked the commander's chest. After being kicked by Ningyu's right leg, the commander's body flew out like a kite with a broken string. Ding! Bang! 2 sounds were heard. The first message was sent by a token. The second sound came from the Grand Commander who had fallen to the ground. Swoosh! Ningyu chased after him and picked up the token from the ground. Second grade commander. Looking at the words on the token, Ningyu frowned. The green-robed heavenly demon is a first grade commander. At this moment, Bai Zhanfei found a token from the green-robed heavenly demon. The two tokens were about the same size, but the commander's was a second-grade commander, while the green-robed heavenly demon's was a first-grade commander. A first-grade commander is a peak, peerless immortal, and a second-grade commander is an early-stage saint immortal. Ningyu murmured, from this, a third-grade commander should be a mid-stage saint immortal, a fourth-grade commander should be a late-stage saint immortal, and a fifth-grade commander should be a peak saint immortal. However, among the heavenly demons, late-stage and peak saint immortals might not be called commanders, but generals. Ningyu shook his head and put these thoughts to the back of his mind for the time being. He placed his right hand flat on the commander's head, wanting to risk devouring his memories. However, just as Ningyu was about to devour, the commander spat out a mouthful of blood and died tragically. Ningyu's face darkened. He had finally decided to devour the commander's memories, but in the end, the commander died tragically on the spot. Swoosh! Swoosh! The battle in the distance quickly came to an end. The early-stage, peerless, immortal heavenly demons were like lambs waiting to be slaughtered under the all-out attacks of the killer god's child and the Dark Emperor. As for the corpses of the heavenly demons, they were all stored in the Red Demon Sword. According to the Dark Emperor and the Red Demon, these heavenly demons were prepared for Ninglu, and they would never take them for themselves. Of course, Ningyu did not believe their nonsense. Ninglu was unconscious, so his devouring speed was extremely slow. Under such circumstances, the Dark Emperor and the Red Demon naturally helped Ninglu get rid of the heavenly demon corpses in the Red Demon Sword. Ningyu, what do we do next? Chapter 2250. Hide among the Sky Fiends. Ningyu tossed the first-grade commander token to Bai Zhanfei. I have an idea. I'll pretend to be a second-grade commander, and you'll pretend to be a first-grade commander. Let's go take a look at Xiaoyun Valley. Bai Zhanfei raised an eyebrow. He had not thought of this idea. Based on their understanding of Sky Fiends, pretending to be a commander should not expose them. Let's do that. Ningyu waved his hand and said to the Dark Emperor and the others, hide inside the Red Demon Sword. No one is allowed to come out without my permission. No problem. The Dark Emperor and the Red Demon Sword were more than happy to hear that. They did not think much and immediately entered the Red Demon Sword. They could devour the corpses of Sky Fiends to increase their cultivation in the Red Demon Sword. As for He-Hai and the Killer God's son, they wanted to stay, but they knew their limits. Not only would they not be of help, but they would also be a burden. Shui Fairy strongly requested to stay. Ningyu wanted to refuse. But on second thought, Shui Fairy's cultivation had reached the peak of peerless immortal, and her strength was comparable to an early-stage saint immortal. It did not seem to be a problem to keep her by his side. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The next moment, Ningyu, Bai Zhanfei, Shui Fairy. They concealed their human auras and disguised themselves as Sky Fiends. Since Shui Fairy did not have a commander token, she disguised herself as a weak Sky Fiend and followed behind Ningyu and Bai Zhanfei. They did not stay there for long. After putting the commander and the green-robed Sky Fiend into the Red Demon Sword, Ningyu and Bai Zhanfei flew toward Xiaoyun Valley. Along the way, Ningyu and the others encountered many groups of Sky Fiends. However, these Sky Fiends chose to take a detour when they saw Ningyu and Bai Zhanfei. After all, they could sense a terrifying aura from Ningyu. No one wanted to court death. The evil spirit battlefield was a strange place. Even though they were all Sky Fiends, they fought each other endlessly. In order to snatch resources, powerful Sky Fiends would kill weaker Sky Fiends all the time. However, not all Sky Fiends were afraid of Ningyu and the others. Ningyu and the rest had just arrived at the periphery of Afterglow Cloud Valley when they were stopped by 3 Sky Fiends. These 3 heavenly fiends were tall and burly, emitting a terrifying aura. Chick, You won't have a future if you follow these two. It's better if you follow me. Obviously, the target of the three burly sky fiends was Shui Wei Fairy, who was behind Ningyu, and Bai Zhanfei. Even though Water Moon Fairy was wearing a bamboo hat, it could not hide her perfect figure. Scram! Ningyu's expression was emotionless as he said, "Don't provoke me." Provoke you? The corners of the burly heavenly demon's mouth curled up as he said disdainfully, "Do you know who I am?" "I am the evil spirit butcher. Voila!" Just as the burly heavenly demon finished speaking, the surrounding heavenly demons cried out in alarm. "Leave quickly. Those who are targeted by the evil spirit butcher and the others will not have a good ending." Yeah, there was a saint immortal intermediate stage heavenly demon who wanted to kill the evil spirit butcher and the others. In the end, not only did he fail to kill the evil spirit butcher, he even lost his life. The evil spirit butcher and the other two joined forces, and their strength is comparable to a peak saint immortal intermediate stage heavenly demon. Those three people are doomed. They will definitely be killed by the evil spirit butcher. It's a pity for that beauty. Beauty? How do you know it's a beauty? Are you stupid? Look at her figure. TSK, TSK, just thinking about it makes me drool. Everyone was discussing. The leader of the evil spirit butchers was obviously very satisfied with the discussion. He said proudly, "Come here, kneel down and kowtow a few times, then send that woman to my bed. Otherwise, I'll make you beg for death." Hee, how can we kowtow a few times? In my opinion, we should at least let them lick our toes. The second brother of the evil spirit butchers laughed sinisterly. "I don't want them to lick my toes." The third brother shrugged and said, "I'm going to strip them naked and hang them on the trees outside the Cloud Valley. I'll let everyone know the consequences of offending us, the evil spirit butchers." Gasp! Hearing the cold words of the three evil spirit butchers, the surrounding martial artists all sucked in a breath of cold air. Cruel, terrifying, sinister, as expected, it was still the evil spirit trio that committed all sorts of crimes. In the evil spirit battlefield, there were at least 800 heavenly demons that died in their hands every year. "I'm going to chop off their limbs." Aquamoon Fairy looked at Ningyu and said, "No problem." Ningyu nodded to express his agreement. He initially did not want to make a move here, but the evil spirit butchers and the others were courting death. Under such circumstances, Ningyu naturally had to show his strength. "Let me do it." Bai Zhanfei grabbed Ningyu's shoulder and whispered, "You have the heaven-devouring demonic poison in your body. Don't make a move here for the time being." "All right." Ningyu shrugged. What Bai Zhanfei did not know was that the heaven-devouring demonic poison could no longer suppress him under the dual control of the heaven ferocious stone and the blood of the divine war body. Although he could not expel it from his body, it would not affect him too much when he made a move. However, since Bai Zhanfei was willing to make a move, Ningyu would not stop him. With Bai Zhanfei's strength, it would be easy for him to deal with the evil spirit butchers. Rumble! The battle broke out instantly. Bang! Bang! To everyone's surprise, the battle ended as soon as it started. Are my eyes playing tricks on me? You're not. The evil spirit butchers have been defeated. Defeated? Hee, I think you've lost your mind. The evil spirit butchers have been killed. What? The last heavenly demon's words caused everyone to exclaim. When the evil spirit butchers joined forces, their strength was comparable to a peak mid-stage saint immortal. If the white-robed martial artist could easily kill them, did that mean that the white-robed martial artist's strength had reached the peak mid-stage saint immortal, or even the late-stage saint immortal? Whoosh! 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 The crowd moved away again. The evil spirit butchers were terrifying, but the white-robed martial artist was equally terrifying. Fortunately, they were close to the Cloud Valley. Otherwise, they would have scattered long ago. Why would they be here giving orders? Humph! How dare you kill my people? All of a sudden, A cold snort was heard. Then the void cracked, and a giant palm print appeared, pressing down on Bai Zhanfei. In a hurry, Bai Zhanfei stomped on the ground and punched out with his right hand. Uft! In an instant, Bai Zhanfei spat out a mouthful of blood, and his body was sent flying several meters away. Whoosh! Fortunately, Ningyu caught him. Otherwise, he would have fallen to the ground. Evil spirit, crazy demon. Someone shouted. What? Even the evil spirit, crazy demon is here? Everyone exclaimed. Who's the evil spirit, crazy demon? Someone was puzzled. You don't know? Rumor has it that the evil spirit butcher has a master called the evil spirit, crazy demon. His cultivation has already reached the acme of perfection. I thought it was just a rumor. Chapter 2251. The screams of the crowd did not affect Ningyu. He raised his right hand and slapped Bai Zhanfei's back. Uft! Bai Zhanfei spat out a mouthful of black blood. His condition improved slightly. Be careful, he's very strong. Bai Zhanfei wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and reminded. If I'm not mistaken, his cultivation should be at the peak late stage, Saint Immortal stage. He's only a step away from the peak. Don't worry. Ningyu smiled at Bai Zhanfei and said, a mere late-stage Saint Immortal heavenly demon can't hurt me. Can't hurt you? The evil spirit, frenzy demon, heard Ningyu's words. He took a step forward and said coldly, the evil spirit butcher is my disciple. You even dared to kill them. No one in the world can save you. Ningyu rolled his eyes. Can't you be more creative? No one in the world can save you every time. Or rather, you're done for, completely done for. Ningyu's ears had grown calluses from hearing such arrogant words. Pa! The evil spirit frenzy demon took out a folding fan and fanned himself. He said indifferently, the heavens have the virtue of cherishing life. I'll spare all of you if you can withstand a punch from me. I'm sorry, Ningyu shrugged and said calmly. Even if you choose to spare my life, I won't spare you. What? Say that again. The evil spirit frenzy demon could not believe his ears. He widened his eyes and said fiercely, how many years has it been? I've never seen someone as arrogant as you. Today, I'll teach you a lesson. Teach me a lesson? I don't need it for now. Ningyu said, you, on the other hand, do need some color because you're so ugly that I can't even bear to look at you. Kill. The evil spirit, frenzy demon, was furious. He stomped on the ground and appeared in front of Ningyu in the blink of an eye. He clenched his right fist and punched out. Bang! Ningyu punched out unhurriedly. The two fists collided, only to see a figure flying straight out. Evil spirit, frenzy demon. That's right. The figure that was sent flying was not Ningyu, but the evil spirit mad demon. Kacha! The evil spirit frenzy demon only stopped when it crashed into a towering tree. Puchi! He spat out a mouthful of blood. The aura of the evil spirit frenzied devil at the peak of the late-stage Saint Immortal realm dropped to the early stage Saint Immortal realm in a short period of time. Moreover, the evil spirit mad demon's aura was still declining. Ah, when had the evil spirit frenzied demon ever suffered such humiliation? He roared like a madman, I'm going to skin you alive! Idiot! Ningyu could not be bothered with the evil spirit berserk demon. He looked at Bai Zhanfei and said, he injured you, go and return it. All right. Bai Zhanfei moved his feet and walked towards the evil spiritual frenzy demon. How dare you? Looking at the approaching Bai Zhanfei, the evil spirit berserk demon said coldly, I know a first-grade commander under Heavenly Demon Kuba. If you dare touch me, the commander will never forgive you. What? The evil spirit berserk demon knows a first-grade commander? A first-grade commander is the commander of Heavenly Lord Kuba's army. He has Heavenly Lord Kuba's support. That's right. It's said that a first-grade commander's cultivation base is at the peak of the peerless immortal realm, but their battle prowess is comparable to an early-stage Saint Immortal Realm expert. Now that the evil spirit, Berserk Demon, has boarded Heavenly Lord Kuba's ship, who would dare to oppose him in the unholy spirit battlefield from now on? There's really a glimmer of hope at the end of the tunnel. Obviously, when the evil spirit, Berserk Demon, said that he knew a first-grade commander, the crowd immediately burst into discussion. In an instant, everyone looked at Ningyu and Bai Zhanfei as if they were dead men. Let that first-grade commander come out. I'll talk to him personally, Ningyu said to the evil spirit, Berserk Demon. Is that so? As soon as Ningyu's voice fell, a calm voice came from behind him. Swish! Then, a scrawny sky fiend slowly appeared in everyone's line of sight. I'm the first-grade commander that the evil spirit, Berserk Demon, mentioned. The scrawny sky fiend said coldly, What do you want to talk to me about? Kneel, Ningyu said coldly. As a first-grade commander, how dare you collude with a native sky fiend in the unholy spirit battlefield? Do you know your crime? The scrawny sky fiend was confused. What was going on? Had the youth in front of him lost his mind, or was there something wrong with him? Ha ha ha! The evil spirit, Berserk Demon, burst into laughter. What he wanted the most was for Ningyu to offend a first-grade commander. That way he could openly seek revenge. After all, the consequences of offending a first-grade commander were unimaginable. I admit, you're really arrogant. The emaciated heavenly demon took out a token from his bosom, waved it, and said, You should be suspicious of my identity as a first-rank commander. Look carefully, this is my token. There are 4 words engraved on it, first-rank commander. Oh, then you can take a look at this. Ningyu responded, then took out a token and threw it to the scrawny sky fiend. What is it? The scrawny sky fiend stretched out his right hand and caught the token steadily. Hiss! As soon as he caught the token, the scrawny sky fiend sucked in a breath of cold air. Thump! He did not think much of it. The scrawny sky fiend immediately knelt on the ground and said fearfully, This subordinate has eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. Please forgive me, Commander. Commander? The scrawny sky fiend's words stunned the surrounding sky fiend. Among them, the evil spirit Berserk Demon was the most confused. He called the scrawny sky fiend over to take revenge. Now, not only did he fail to take revenge, but the scrawny sky fiend actually knelt to his enemy. Moreover, it seemed like the scrawny sky fiend was extremely terrified. What's going on? You're asking me? Who am I supposed to ask? What exactly is a commander? The crowd began to discuss again when they saw the scrawny sky fiend kneeling. Indeed, you have eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. Ningyu stretched out his right hand and took the token from the scrawny sky fiend's hand. He said indifferently, I hope you can handle the evil spirit mad demon to my satisfaction. I promise I'll satisfy you, Commander. The scrawny sky fiend patted his chest and promised. Subsequently, the scrawny sky fiend moved and arrived in front of the evil spirit mad demon. Slap, slap, slap. He raised his right hand and continuously slapped the evil spirit mad demon's face. Crisp sounds rang out one after another. It did not take long. The evil spirit mad demon's face swelled up and turned into a pig's head. Perhaps it was no longer appropriate to call it the evil spirit mad demon. It was more appropriate to call it the pig head mad demon. Commander, why did you hit me? Although the scrawny sky fiend was only a peak peerless immortal, while it was a peak late-stage saint immortal, the evil spirit mad demon did not dare to resist. That was because the scrawny sky fiend was a first-grade commander under Heavenly Lord Kuba. Offending the scrawny sky fiend meant offending Heavenly Lord Kuba. Chapter 2252. Why did I hit you? Because you didn't recognize Mount Tai and offended someone you shouldn't have. The thin martial artist's hands did not stop moving. As he slapped the evil spirit berserk demon's face, he said fiercely, "I'll dig out your eyes right now and make you blind." The thin martial artist was very angry. If it wasn't for the evil spirit berserk demon, how could he have offended a second-grade commander? One had to know. The army under Lord Kuba's command was extremely strict. Even if a second-grade commander killed him, he wouldn't dare to show any dissatisfaction. Pucci! The thin martial artist's hands were quick, and he instantly dug out the evil spirit berserk demon's eyeballs. Ah! A hysterical scream came out from the evil spirit berserk demon's mouth. When the surrounding sky demons saw the situation, they all chose to retreat, not daring to approach Ningyu. Originally, they didn't know Ningyu's true identity, but now they could basically confirm that Ningyu was a second-grade commander under Lord Kuba's command. Offending Ningyu was destined to not end well. "Commander, what do you think of my way of handling this?" After digging out the evil spirit berserk demon's eyes, the thin martial artist looked at Ningyu and asked, "SOSO." Ningyu waved his hand and said, "If there's a next time, you should know the consequences. Hurry up and come over here to apologize to the great commander." The thin martial artist kicked the evil spirit berserk demons, and said fiercely, "If I don't get the commander's forgiveness, I'll cut you into pieces and feed you to the dogs." Yes, yes, yes. The evil spirit mad demon scrambled to Ningyu's side and kept saying, "Great commander, please forgive me. I had eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai and offended you. From now on, you'll follow me." Ningyu patted the evil spirit berserk demon's shoulder, and a terrifying force suddenly entered the evil spirit berserk demon's body. Hiss! Feeling the force entering his body, the evil spirit berserk demon sucked in a breath of cold air. He could clearly feel it. As long as Ningyu willed it, he would die. That was to say, his fate was completely in the hands of Ningyu. "I want to build a private army. Go and count and see how many sky fiends are willing to follow me. I'll heal your eyes and make you the commander of the private army after this matter is done," said Ningyu lightly. "I'll heal your eyes and make you the commander of the private army." Whoosh! Hearing this, the evil spirit mad demon was overjoyed. He had thought that he would definitely die, but who would have thought that there would be a glimmer of hope at the end of the tunnel? Although he had offended the thin and weak martial artist, he had hitched a ride on the great commander's ship. With the great commander's status, if he wanted to establish a private army, he would definitely be able to summon hundreds of people. "Great commander, you might need to temporarily postpone the establishment of the private army," the thin martial artist reminded. "Commander Lingba also wants to establish a private army. He said that the east side of Cloud Valley belongs to his sphere of influence." Within his sphere of influence. "Humph! How dare you?" Ningyu harumphed coldly and said in a deep voice, "Don't bother about other things. Help me recruit a private army first. As for that Commander Lingba, get him to come see me." The thin martial artist hesitated for a moment before replying, "This Commander Lingba is a grade 3 commander. Even your superior wouldn't dare to be arrogant in front of him." "Oh, tell me more about it. I just came out of seclusion and don't know much about the forces under Heavenly Lord Kuba." Ningyu raised his brows and asked, "Just came out of seclusion?" The thin martial artist was a little confused. Although he was confused, he did not dare to refuse Ningyu's request. After pondering for a moment, the thin martial artist said slowly, "There are a total of 4 great generals under Heavenly Lord Kuba, and their cultivation is at the peak Saint Immortal stage. Apart from the 4 great generals, there are 4 deputy generals with late-stage Saint Immortal stage cultivation. As for the grade 3 commanders under the deputy generals, there are many of them. Commander Lingba is Deputy General East's subordinate. He's in charge of the eastern region of Cloud Valley. As for you, Commander, the thin martial artist paused, then continued. Your superior, Commander Scarlet Moon, is Deputy General South's subordinate. He's in charge of the southern region of Cloud Valley. After listening to the thin martial artist's explanation, Ning Yu had a rough understanding of Heavenly Lord Kuba's forces. The great generals and the deputy generals were nothing to be afraid of. After all, the strongest among them was only a peak saint immortal stage. With his current strength, unless he encountered a half-step heaven monarch, he would be able to kill all of them. Evil spirit frenzy demon, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and recruit a private army for me. Suddenly, Ning Yu saw the evil spirit frenzy demon standing still and said coldly, If you can't recruit 1,000 peerless immortal sky fiends in an hour, I'll hold you accountable. Slap, slap, slap. As soon as Ning Yu's voice fell, several crisp sounds rang out in the distance. Then, a middle-aged man in brown clothes slowly appeared in the line of sight of Ning Yu and others. Commander Ling Ba. The thin martial artist's legs trembled uncontrollably when he saw the brown-clad man. Although Commander Ling Ba was a third-grade commander, his cultivation had reached the late-stage Saint Immortal stage. Logically speaking, a late-stage Saint Immortal stage cultivator should have been promoted to Deputy General. However, Commander Ling Ba was loyal to Deputy General East, so he didn't advance. Instead, he obediently followed behind the general. I've recruited all the Sky Fiends in the eastern region of Cloud Valley. Where are you going to recruit more? Commander Ling Ba's lips curled in disdain. I've already announced that the eastern region is my territory. Anyone who dares to barge in will pay the price in blood. Is that so? Ning Yu's expression was calm. I don't know what the price in blood is. Ha ha ha. Demon Ling Ba threw his head back and laughed wildly. Then he said fiercely, You won't cry until you see the coffin. I was just worried that I couldn't get close to Hong Yu, but you took the initiative to come to me. If I capture you a second-grade commander, I can at least make Hong Yu dance for me. Tisk TSK, whenever I think of Hong Yu's slender waist, I can't control myself. Ning Yu wasn't angry at Ling Ba's words. He turned to look at the evil spirit mad demon. If I heal your eyes, how confident are you that you can kill him? Kill, Commander Ling Ba? The evil spirit mad demon stuttered. He didn't have the guts to do that. He could easily kill the indigenous Sky Fiends in the evil spirit battlefield. But to kill Ling Ba, even his legs were trembling. Trash indeed. Ning Yu kicked the evil spirit mad demon's chest, sending him flying several meters away. People like the evil spirit mad demon, who were afraid of death, were destined to not have a good ending. Men, at this moment, Chapter 2253. Buzz. The space trembled. The few martial artists hidden in the void disappeared in an instant. In fact, Ling Ba did not come alone. He had 4 Grade 3 commanders with him. Hong Yu was hot-tempered. If a Grade 3 commander went to her alone, he might be beaten up. Therefore, Ling Ba asked the 4 Grade 3 commanders to act together. No matter how hot-tempered Hong Yu was, she would definitely compromise. I'll give you a chance to live. Ling Ba turned around and looked at Ning Yu with a smirk. Kneel down and kowtow to me. Maybe I'll spare your life if I'm in a good mood. Idiot, Ning Yu said indifferently. Even if Ling Ba's cultivation had reached the peak of the Saint Immortal stage, Ning Yu would not be afraid, let alone Ling Ba's cultivation base was only at the late-stage Saint Immortal stage. Since you have a sharp tongue, I'll send you to heaven. Ling Ba's expression turned cold. He stomped the ground and charged at Ning Yu. Zap zap. Ling Ba was so fast that he arrived in front of Ning Yu in the blink of an eye. He clenched his right fist and punched at Ning Yu's head with a violent gust of immortal chi. The power of Ling Ba's punch was extremely powerful. If an ordinary late-stage Saint Immortal stage cultivator was unlucky enough to be hit, he would be crippled even if he did not die. Ling Ba let out a strange laugh, as if he could see Ning Yu's miserable state when his head was blasted open. Remember this in your next life. It's not good. However, Ling Ba's expression changed drastically before he could finish laughing. He immediately retreated without hesitation. At the same time, in the process of retreating, Ling Ba gathered all the immortal qi in his body on his fist and punched out. Bang! A crisp sound was heard. Ling Ba's body was like a kite with a broken string, falling straight to the ground. Bang! 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 Following that, 4 figures were thrown out of the void and fell heavily to the ground. The 4 cultivators were none other than the 4 Grade 3 commanders who had just left. Buzz! There was a tremor in the air. A young woman in red slowly appeared in everyone's line of sight. Scarlet Moon! Ling Ba crawled up from the ground with great difficulty and stared fixedly at the lady in red as he asked in a cold voice, "How did you become so powerful?" Ling Ba could never have imagined it. Hongyu, whose strength was comparable to his before, doubled in just one day. That was to say, with his current strength, he would be completely defeated by Hongyu. "I heard that you want to see me?" Hong, you looked at Ling Ba calmly. "Don't be complacent. This is the east side of the Cloud Valley, the territory of the Deputy General of the East." Ling Ba said coldly, "You may be strong, but against the Eastern Deputy General, you still have no chance of winning." "Really?" Hong Yu's face was expressionless. She said lightly, "I will wait here." "Go and call Deputy General Dong." You. Ling Ba didn't expect Hongyu to be so arrogant. Deputy General Dong's cultivation base was at the peak of the Saint Immortal stage, and he led an army of tens of thousands of heavenly devils. He thought that by bringing up Deputy General Dong, Hongyu would back off. Unexpectedly, Hongyu didn't buy it. "I have to think of a way." Ling Ba's eyes flickered as he secretly thought of a solution. The 4 generals and 4 deputy generals had already followed Lord of Heaven Ku Ba into the Cloud Valley. Hongyu's terrifying strength was enough to dominate the entire periphery of the Cloud Valley. "Got it." All of a sudden, Ling Ba's face lit up. Crack! He reached into his pocket and secretly crushed a crystal ball. Swoosh! Not long after, several figures dashed over from 3 other directions. In order to fight against Hongyu, Ling Ba called all the rank 3 commanders over. "Ling Ba, why did you call us over?" One of the bald rank 3 commanders looked slightly unhappy. He said in a deep voice, "If you ruin Lord of Heaven's plan, you'll be in deep trouble." "She's a human." Ling Ba didn't say much. He stretched out his right hand, pointed at Hongyu, and said fiercely, "Hurry up and take her down." Swoosh! Hearing Ling Ba's words, the expressions of the rank 3 commanders changed slightly. Humans were the sworn enemies of the heavenly demons. Whether heavenly demons encountered humans or humans encountered heavenly demons, they would attack and kill them. Now that Ling Ba said Hongyu was a human, how could they not be surprised? "Humph! Ling Ba, I think your brain is rusty." The bald commander snorted and said, "Hongyu is Deputy General Nan's right-hand man. How can she be a human? In my opinion, it's because you failed to flirt with her and slandered her instead." No. I'm definitely not slandering her." Ling Ba quickly said, "Everyone, let's attack together and take Hongyu down." "Ling Ba, you need to give us a convincing reason." "Yes, no reason. Only a ghost would believe you." "Don't waste everyone's time." The rank 3 commanders said one after another. To them, it was not wise to go against Hongyu. Everyone knew that Hongyu and Deputy General Nan were close. Offending Hongyu meant offending Deputy General Nan. For a moment, Ling Ba was in a difficult situation. Ning Yu, what should we do? On the other side, Bai Zhanfei lowered his voice and asked, There's so many heavenly demons. Once we are exposed, the consequences will be unimaginable. In fact, Bai Zhanfei's worry was not unreasonable. No matter how strong Ning Yu was, he would be a little powerless against so many powerful heavenly demons. Coupled with him and Water Moon Fairy, these two burdens, Ning Yu would probably lose the chance to escape. Don't worry. Hong Yu over there is indeed a human. Ning Yu waved his hand and motioned Bai Zhanfei to calm down. Ning Yu did not know if Ling Ba was just guessing, but he knew that Hong Yu was indeed a human. Although Hong Yu tried her best to hide her aura, Ning Yu's keen perception still detected a faint human aura from her body. You seem very calm. As he was thinking, Hong Yu's voice rang in Ning Yu's ears. Aren't you the same? Ning Yu shrugged and said, How about it? Are you interested in doing something big? You are indeed a human. Hong, you seem to have already seen through Ning Yu's true identity. She said lightly, In addition to the bald commander, there are 23rd grade commanders left. I will take 10. The bald commander will take 5, and you will take 5. Is there a problem? No problem. Ning Yu expressed that he was fine with anything. Only a few of these 3rd grade commanders had reached the late stage of Saint Immortal. Not to mention 5. Even if there were 10 of them, Ning Yu could still fight. Attack! Hong Yu did not choose to waste time. She stepped on the ground and immediately rushed out. Swish! Hong Yu's first target was Ling Ba. Ever since she pretended to be Hong Yu, Ling Ba had been targeting her, which annoyed her. Chapter 2254. Boom! A great battle broke out in an instant. You! Ling Ba's eyes widened in disbelief as he looked at Hong Yu, who was rushing toward him. What a mess! It was all a mess. Ling Ba didn't think that his random guess would actually turn out to be true. Hong Yu was really a human, but it was too late to think about anything now. The only thing he could do now was to use all his strength to kill Hong Yu and the bald commander. Otherwise, all of them had to die. Ling Ba fist. Gathering the energy in his body into his fist, Ling Ba punched out, bringing with it a violent energy fluctuation, and collided with Hong Yu's fist. Bang! The two collided. Ling Ba only felt a sharp pain in his hand, and then his body flew straight back. Die! After a successful strike, the red moon chased after him. With a low shout, Hong Yu took out a red flying sword and slashed at Ling Ba's neck. Crack! The level of the red flying sword was very high. Ling Ba's neck was cut by the flying sword and his head was separated on the spot. Swoosh! Although his head was cut off, Ling Ba didn't die. Instead, his head flew to the west and his body flew to the east. Damn it! This change was obviously beyond Hong Yu's expectation. Ling Ba's primordial spirit was either stored in his head or in his body. One of the two. Hong Yu's eyes flickered. Finally, she gritted her teeth and rushed to Ling Ba's head. Boom! She injected her immortal chi into the red flying sword and slashed. In a split second, Ling Ba's head was cut in half. Ha ha ha! Bitch Hong Yu, the mountains never change and the rivers never stop flowing. We will meet again. On the other side, an illusory had popped out from Ling Ba's neck as he raised his head and laughed maniacally. The next time I see you, it will be the time of your death. Wrong judgment. Hong Yu's face was gloomy. Her wrong judgment gave Ling Ba a chance to escape. Hong Yu wasn't particularly worried about Ling Ba's escape. The only thing that worried her was whether Ling Ba would inform Heaven, Lord Ku Ba, of what happened here. Really? At this moment, a faint voice suddenly sounded in Ling Ba's ear. Who? Ling Ba's face changed slightly and he hurriedly said, The one who will kill you. Ning Yu raised his sword and brought it down. He chopped off the head formed by Ling Ba's primordial spirit. Chi. Not only had Ningyu chopped off Ling Ba's primordial spirit's head, but he had also opened the red demon sword and sucked Ling Ba's primordial spirit into it. As soon as his primordial spirit entered the red fiend's sword, the red fiend and the Dark Emperor hurriedly took action. The nascent soul of a late-stage, saint immortal, heavenly devil was a great tonic. Thank you. Han Yu put away his flying sword, thanked Ningyu, and then rushed to several other third-grade commanders. Rumble. After Ling Ba's death, the remaining commanders fled like headless flies. However, facing the siege of Ningyu, Han Yu and the bald martial artist, how could these rank 3 commanders escape? Most of the third-grade commanders were around the Saint Immortal intermediate stage. Some of the stronger ones were at the late Saint Immortal realm. Whether it was Ningyu, Han Yu, or the bald martial artist, their combat strength had reached the peak Saint Immortal realm. A peak Saint Immortal realm martial artist could basically kill a mid-stage Saint Immortal realm martial artist or a late-stage Saint Immortal realm martial artist. Bang, 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 a series of crisp sounds were heard. In just over 10 minutes, a full 20 rank, 3 commanders were completely annihilated. Hiss! The surrounding sky demons all sucked in a breath of cold air. They were the indigenous heavenly devils of the evil spirit battlefield. The battle between the heavenly devils under Heavenly Lord Ku Ba had nothing to do with them. In any case, they would accept the recruitment of whoever won. You'll be in charge of recruiting heavenly lords. After killing many third-grade commanders, Han Yu seemed to have sensed something and said to the bald martial artist, "I'll go to Cloud Valley first." "Be careful," the bald martial artist reminded. "Cloud Valley is extremely dangerous. Remember not to be reckless. Mind your own business." Han Yu flew toward Cloud Valley without looking back. Go to the depths of Cloud Valley quickly. Ningyu's original plan was to recruit a private army and let them open the way to Cloud Valley. That way, he could save a lot of unnecessary trouble. However, just as Ningyu was about to instruct Bai Zhanfei to recruit, he heard a familiar voice. "Ninglu?" Ningyu's expression changed slightly. The person who spoke was none other than Ninglu. Ningyu remembered very clearly that Ninglu should be recuperating at this time. Why did it make a sound? At the thought of this, Ningyu immediately sent his perception into the red demon sword. After his perception entered the red demon sword, Ningyu realized that Ninglu was still sitting cross-legged with his eyes closed. "Did you hear what Ninglu said?" Ningyu asked. No. The Dark Emperor and the Red Demon shook their heads at the same time. That's strange. Ningyu frowned. He definitely did not hear it wrong. The person who spoke just now was 100% Ninglu. "Bai Zhanfei, Shueihua Ferry, follow me into Cloud Valley." His eyes flickered. Finally, Ningyu's figure flashed, and he rushed out first. Since Ninglu was only willing to say one sentence, it meant that there must be something he needed in Cloud Valley. No matter what he needed, Ningyu would find it for him. Swoosh! Swoosh! Bai Zhanfei and Shueihua Ferry looked at each other and immediately leaped up, following closely behind Ningyu. Buzz! There were a total of 4 entrances to Cloud Valley. Ningyu and Bai Zhanfei entered from the east entrance and increased their speed to the limit, moving forward at full speed. But very soon, Ningyu's speed slowed down. Pressure. The deeper they went into Cloud Valley, the greater the pressure. It was easy to imagine the difficulty of moving forward while facing such a huge pressure. You guys enter the Red Demon sword first. After advancing for a distance, Ningyu finally said to Bai Zhanfei and Shueihua Ferry. Bai Zhanfei was an early-stage sage, and Shueihua Ferry was only a peak peerless immortal. Given the endurance of their bodies, without Ningyu's help, they might not even be able to reach here. Be careful. Bai Zhanfei and Shuewa Fairy were not stupid. They knew that even if they stayed, they would not be of much help to Ningyu, and would instead become a burden. So, they immediately turned into a shadow and entered the red demon's sword. Swoosh! Without Bai Zhanfei and Shuewa Fairy dragging him down, Ningyu immediately increased his speed to the limit, flying towards the depths of Cloud Valley. As time passed, Ningyu felt the pressure on his shoulders gradually increase. Even though Ningyu was very strong, he felt a little powerless under this level of pressure. Moreover, Ningyu found that he had entered an illusion array. All around him were towering trees, all kinds of birds and beasts whizzing past his head. Help! Suddenly, a cry for help sounded in Ningyu's ears. Hongyue! Hearing this cry for help, Ningyu's expression changed slightly. Because this was an illusion, everything could be fake. To go or not to go. The people of these supreme weaves are all very arrogant. Unfortunately, they met me, and none of them had a good ending. Ningyu's expression changed. Brilliant void weave? If he remembered correctly, wasn't Su Ying from the brilliant void weave that he met in the passageway before coming to the high-level plains? But soon, Ningyu regained his composure. How vast was the brilliant void weave! Moreover, given Su Ying's strength, she shouldn't have come to a place like the evil spirit battlefield. After all, when he separated from Su Ying, she was still devouring ancestral immortal nomological laws. Only a short period of time had passed. Logically speaking, Su Ying's strength shouldn't have improved so quickly. TSK, TSK, TSK. As Ningyu was thinking, the blue-robed man smacked his lips and said, 3 minutes ago, another rascal tried to barge into the Cloud Valley. Unfortunately, I captured him alive. Oh, Ningyu was finally moved. 3 minutes. A human was captured alive. All signs indicated that the human that the blue-robed man had captured was Crimson Moon. Come out and greet an old friend. The blue-robed man pointed at the void with his right hand. In an instant, the void split open, and a red-robed woman appeared in front of Ningyu. Crimson Moon. The red-robed woman was none other than Crimson Moon. Ningyu, hurry up and leave. As soon as Crimson Moon appeared, she shouted at Ningyu, "This person is General Dong under Heavenly Lord Kuba. He's a peak stage, Saint Immortal." Crimson Moon was very anxious. She knew that Ningyu must have been deceived by General Dong. Otherwise, given Ningyu's perception, he would definitely not be affected by the illusion. Leave. General Dong raised his brows and said calmly, "Come here. Kneel down and submit to me. I might consider sparing your life." "Are you sure you're talking to me?" Ningyu stared fixedly at General Dong and said, "In the past, there were many people like you who used this tone to talk to me. Unfortunately, they all died under my sword." "Oh." General Dong's lips curled up and he said, "I'd like to see how you're going to make me die under your sword." General Dong had absolute confidence. In the illusion, his strength would increase by at least a few levels. Given his peak stage Saint Immortal cultivation, almost no human could defeat him. "As you wish." Ningyu took 2 steps back and quickly waved the red demon's sword in his hand. "You're playing tricks." General Dong pursed his lips and remained unmoved. He wanted to see where Ningyu got his confidence from. To be honest, when Ningyu entered the illusion, his original plan was to kill Ningyu. However, when he saw that Ningyu was only a mid-stage peerless immortal, he instantly changed his mind. Given Ningyu's mid-stage peerless immortal cultivation, he must have many life-saving trump cards on him to be able to come to Shayun Valley. Killing Ningyu was far less useful. It was far less useful than keeping Ningyu alive. Crack! Crack! However, the ideal was plentiful, but the reality was harsh. After only 3 seconds, General Dong turned pale with fright, because he realized that the void was constantly making cracking sounds. These were the signs that the illusion was about to break. In other words, the illusion he'd painstakingly created hadn't been broken by the powerhouses of the brilliant Void Weave, the geniuses of the Tyrant Destruction Weave, or the cultivators of the Violet Orchid Weave, but was about to be broken by a mid-stage Peerless Immortal? General Dong found it hard to accept this blow. Stop right now. With a cold expression, General Dong clutched Hong Yu's neck with his right hand and said viciously, "If you dare wave your flying sword again, I'll kill her." Swoosh! Upon hearing this, Ning Yu immediately stopped. Whether or not he could break the illusion did not have much of an effect on him. General Dong was strong, but he could easily kill him if he used his full strength. After all, he'd reached the mid-stage Peerless Immortal stage, and his overall combat strength was among the best among Peak Sane Immortals. General Dong was also a Peak Sane Immortal, but it was undeniable that he'd only broken through a few days ago. A newly ascended Sky Fiend. Compared to some of the older powerhouses, General Dong paled in every aspect. Humph. Chapter 2256. Take her life. Ning Yu played with the red demon sword in his hand and said indifferently, "I think you may have misunderstood. We met by chance, and it's only been half an hour since we've known each other. What does it have to do with me whether you kill her or not?" Swish! Hearing Ning use indifferent words, a look of disappointment appeared on Hong Yu's face. Ning Yu was right. She had only known Ning Yu for a short period of time. They were just strangers who met by chance. But somehow, when Ning Yu said that, she was still a little disappointed. "Do you really want to see her die?" General Dong's face was cold, and he said in a deep voice, "In that case, I will fulfill her wish." Crack! As he spoke, General Dong exerted a little force in his right hand. A crisp crack came from Hong Yu's neck. "Well, you win." Ning Yu shrugged and immediately flicked his wrist, throwing the red demon sword to General Dong. Swoosh! The red demon sword was so fast that it almost came to General Dong in the blink of an eye. Humph! You know what's good for you. Seeing the flying sword in front of him, General Dong snorted coldly. Then the energy in his body gathered on his palm, and he grabbed it backhandedly. However, as soon as General Dong's palm touched the red demon sword, he felt an extremely terrible energy rush out of the red demon sword and hit his palm fiercely. Damn it! At this critical moment, General Dong cursed and hurriedly retreated, trying to avoid the impact of this energy. Crack! However, it was obviously too late for General Dong to retreat at this time. The terrible energy hit his right hand in an instant. A crisp sound was heard. Bang! A bloody palm fell to the ground. General Dong screamed like a pig being slaughtered. "I will kill you and tear you into pieces." General Dong was extremely angry. He was extremely angry. In fact, he was ready to be attacked by Ning Yu, but he did not show it. However, he still underestimated Ning Yu. Even though he was prepared, Ning Yu's sneak attack still succeeded and cut off his right palm. "Get back here." With a thought, the Eastern general hastily retracted his palm. At his level, as long as he withdrew his hand in time, he could quickly reattach it using a secret technique. Although General Dong could grow another palm, it would take a long time to make up for the lost essence. Therefore, General Dong wanted to get his palm back at all costs. Ning Yu laughed calmly. He controlled the red demon sword to turn its head around and stab the palm on the ground. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, the red demon sword pierced the palm and brought it back to Ning Yu's side. Chi! As soon as the red demon sword returned to Ning Yu's side, a terrifying devouring force was emitted from it. In just 1 second, General Dong's right hand was completely devoured. How could Ning Yu let go of such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? The key was to weaken General Dong's strength. You! Seeing that his palm was completely devoured, General Dong was trembling with anger. What he cultivated was an evil technique. Most of the essence in his body was in his right palm. Losing his right palm meant that his combat power would be reduced by at least 20%. At his peak, he might not be a match for Ningyu, let alone now. Run! Without thinking much, General Dong immediately tore the void and went in. As the saying went, where there is life, there is hope. General Dong was able to become a general under Lord of Heaven Kuba, so he understood this very well. See you later. In the process of escaping, General Dong did not forget to say something ruthless. It seemed he felt that he could definitely escape. Wanna run? Seeing General Dong going into the void, Ningyu grabbed Hong Yu's shoulder with his right hand and the red demon's sword with his left. His body turned into a shadow and chased after General Dong. A powerful heavenly demon, like General Dong, could not be given a chance to escape. Once he escaped, the consequences would be unimaginable. Seeing that General Dong was getting farther and farther away, Hong Yu hurriedly said, "Put me down, or you will never catch up with General Dong." Never catch up? Ningyu slightly raised the corner of his mouth and said, "It doesn't matter if I can't catch up with him. I have already locked onto his aura." What Hong Yu did not know was that with Ningyu's speed, he could definitely catch up with General Dong, even if he carried her. The reason why Ningyu chased with all his might was that he wanted to use General Dong to find a safe way to the depths of Xia Yun Valley. After all, Xia Yun Valley was extremely dangerous. Without General Dong leading the way, even he was not very sure that he could reach the deepest part. "You helped me twice." Since Ningyu did not want to chase, Hong Yu did not ask any more questions. She looked at Ningyu and said solemnly, "When the matter in Xia Yun Valley is settled, I will return these 2 favors to you." "I did not help you to return the favor," Ningyu said. "It was just a matter of convenience. I am from Kungsu territory. If you go to Kungsu territory, you can find me in the capital." After saying this, Hong Yu did not say anything more. She knew that it was useless to say anything now. Anyway, Ningyu had helped her twice. She would remember this kindness in her heart. Whoosh! General Dong did not know that Ningyu was chasing behind him. He looked back at Ningyu, who was gradually disappearing from his sight, and could not help but let out a long sigh. While jumping, General Dong came to the front of a stone room. After looking around and making sure that no one was following him, he took out a golden key from his arms. Creak! The key was inserted into the hole, and the stone room slowly opened. Bang! General Dong quickly entered the stone room and then fiercely closed the door. There was a huge crystal bed in the stone room. General Dong jumped up and jumped onto the crystal bed. Hiss! As soon as he jumped onto the crystal bed, General Dong gasped. Chi-chi! The next moment, a steady stream of energy gushed out from the bottom of the crystal bed and kept drilling into General Dong's body. With the infusion of energy, General Dong's aura was soaring rapidly. Damn it! Although his aura was soaring, General Dong was not happy at all. There was no other reason. This crystal bed was carefully prepared by him. The purpose of preparing the crystal bed was not to heal his injuries, but to break through to the half-step heavenly Lord realm. Now that his right hand was chopped off by Ningyu, which led to the loss of too much essence in his body, he had to use the crystal bed in advance. Even if he devoured all the energy in the crystal bed, his cultivation would definitely not be able to advance to the half-step heavenly Lord realm. At most, he could advance to the point where he could compete with the veteran martial artists at the peak of the Saint Immortal stage. Don't let me see you again, or I will let you know how to write the word cruel. General Dong's face was extremely cold, and his eyes burst out a frightening light. Ever since he came to the evil spirit battlefield, this was his first defeat. Chapter 22, 57. Chi. Inside the stone room, General Dong was trying his best to devour energy. His aura was also soaring rapidly. However, outside the stone room, Ningyu and Hong Yu had already appeared. General Dong is inside. Hong Yu looked at the stone room and asked in a deep voice, "Do you have any way to break the stone room?" Hong Yu knew something about General Dong. General Dong would seek revenge for the smallest grievance and would never hide secretly. Since he was willing to enter the stone room, it meant that there was definitely something important inside. There is a way, but... Ningyu hesitated. "No, but you must break the stone room in half an hour," Hong Yu said firmly. "What's going on?" Ningyu asked. Hong Yu's expression made him feel a little confused. It seemed, was there something important in the stone room? If I'm not wrong, General Dong should be breaking through to the half-step Lord of Heaven in the stone room. Hong Yu said in a deep voice, "I heard that the reason why Lord of Heaven Kuba brought the 4 generals here is to let them break through to the half-step Lord of Heaven in Xia Yun Valley. Although Lord of Heaven Kuba is a prince, he has no half-step Lord of Heaven to fight for him, so he can only rank last among all the princes." Hearing Hong Yu's explanation, Ningyu was finally moved. At this time he could easily fight and even kill General Dong. However, once General Dong advanced to the half-step Lord of Heaven, even if he used all his trump cards, he would definitely not be a match for General Dong. After all, half-step Lord of Heaven and the peak of Saint Immortal were 2 completely different levels. According to Ningyu's guess, even if he advanced to the Saint Immortal, he would definitely not be able to fight against a half-step Lord of Heaven. How can you break the stone room? While Ningyu was thinking, Hong Yu's anxious voice suddenly sounded in his ears. "I need your help." After thinking for a while, Ningyu said, "Open your mind and let me control it." "Huh." Hong Yu's face changed. What did Ningyu want to do? Wasn't it just breaking the stone door? Why did he ask her to open her mind? "I was just joking with you." Ningyu waved his hand and said, "Step back. I'll try to break the stone door." "Sha." Hearing Ningyu's words, Hong Yu moved and took a few steps back. Dark Emperor, Red Devil by Zhan Fei, Water Moon Fairy. Transfer the immortal qi in your bodies to me. Ningyu took a deep breath and began to contact the people in the Red Devil sword. Actually, as soon as he arrived, Ningyu knew that the stone room would be very difficult to break. At the very least, with his current strength, it was basically impossible for him to break it. However, this did not mean that he did not have a way. There were many experts in the Red Demon Sword. Gathering everyone's immortal qi and breaking open the stone room was not too big of a problem. Buzz! Bai Zhanfei and the others did not hesitate. They immediately extracted the immortal qi from their bodies and channeled it through the Red Demon's sword into Ning Yu's body. Meanwhile, Ning Yu also gathered all the immortal qi in his body and gathered it all on his fist. On the other side, when Hong Yu saw the terrifying immortal qi fluctuations emerging from Ning Yu's fist, he could not help but open his mouth slightly. The strength that Ning Yu showed at this time, even in the capital of the Kungsu territory, could be ranked in the top 100. Bang! Under Hong Yu's shocked gaze, Ning Yu clenched his right fist and suddenly punched. A crisp sound came out. A gap suddenly appeared in the door of the stone room. Who? As soon as the gap appeared, General Dong, who was on the crystal bed, changed his expression. Crack! Soon, the stone door was blasted open. Ning Yu immediately rushed out and rushed to General Dong. "You are really haunting me." General Dong's face was gloomy. He clenched his right fist and rushed forward. Bang! The 2 fists collided. Ning Yu and General Dong took a few steps back at the same time. In this blow, both sides were evenly matched. Your strength? Ning Yu was slightly surprised. One should know that his punch carried the remaining power of Bai Zhanfei and the others. In other words, The divine chi on his fist was not only his own, but also that of Baijanfei and Water Moon Fairy. In this case, General Dong could still block it. It could be imagined to what extent General Dong's strength had increased. Very good. General Dong quickly regained his composure. He looked at Ningyu and said fiercely, "There is a way to heaven, but you don't want to go. There is no door to hell, but you want to break in. Next year, today will be the day you die." With a low roar, General Dong immediately rushed out. All the energy in his body gathered on his fist. General Dong was determined to kill Ningyu with one punch. Swoosh! However, at this moment, a shadow suddenly rushed into the stone room. The target of this shadow was the crystal bed. Oh no! The sudden change caused General Dong's pupils to shrink. He hurriedly retreated, wanting to kill the afterimage. The crystal bed was the key to whether General Dong's strength could continue to improve. How could he allow others to touch it? "You dare to be distracted while fighting me. I have to say you are really bold." Ning Yu held the red devil sword in his hand and chased after him. Ning Yu saw it clearly. The shadow was none other than Hong Yu. Hong Yu had fought for such a good opportunity for him. How could he waste it? Damn it! Hong Yu snatched the crystal bed in front, and Ning Yu chased after him. For a moment, General Dong was in a dilemma. Should he turn back to deal with Ning Yu or drive Hong Yu away? It was very difficult to choose. Fight! At this critical moment, General Dong's body shook quickly. In an instant, there were two of him. Doppelganger. At this time, General Dong displayed his unique secret skill, Doppelganger. General Dong's doppelganger was not simple. The strength of the two doppelgangers was exactly the same. The only drawback was that it consumed a large amount of energy with every passing second. As long as he couldn't get rid of either Ningyu or Hong Yu in a short time, the consequences would be unimaginable. Cut! Ning Yu held the red devil sword in his hand and slashed in the air. Stab! In the face of Ning Yu's sword aura, General Dong slightly moved his body to one side. However, something happened when General Dong moved his body to one side. The huge sword aura went straight to the crystal bed. Crack! In an instant, the crystal bed was cut into two halves. Buzz! Buzz! A steady stream of energy emerged from the bottom of the crystal bed. "I'm so angry." This change made General Dong so angry that his nose was crooked. He didn't hesitate to use his trump card in order to block Ningyu and get rid of Hong Yu first. Who would have thought? Hong, you couldn't get rid of Hong Yu. But Ningyu cut open the crystal bed, exposing the energy vortex at the bottom of the crystal bed. "Today, all of you will die." General Dong clenched his fists and immediately merged with his doppelganger. He said fiercely, "Originally, I planned to keep you alive and let you be my slaves. Now, it seems that even if the Emperor comes, he can't save you." "Really?" Ningyu raised his eyebrows and said, "You'd better go and take a look at the energy vortex." Just now, when General Dong merged with his doppelganger, Hong Yu quietly took out a white jade bottle from his arms and threw it into the vortex. Chapter 2258. Swish! As soon as he finished devouring the energy, Hong Yu flicked his wrist and took back the jade bottle. You! General Dong's eyes widened when he saw Hong Yu's action. He was so angry that he trembled. The energy that he had worked so hard to obtain was taken away by Hong Yu so quickly. One had to know. Losing the energy meant that he could not break through to the half-step Heavenly Lord realm in a short period of time. Even if he was severely injured and used the energy under the crystal bed in advance, he still had a chance to break through to the half-step Heavenly Lord realm. As long as Heavenly Lord Ku Ba found some half-step Heavenly Lord realm, heavenly demon corpses for him to devour, it would be fine. But now, Hong Yu had obtained all the energy, causing him to lose the chance to break through to the half-step Heavenly Lord realm. In other words, even if Heavenly Lord Ku-Ba found him a heavenly demon corpse, he would not be able to break through to the half-step Heavenly Lord realm. After all, he needed to prepare a lot of things before he could break through. Catch! Just as General Dong was fuming, Hong Yu flicked his wrist and threw the jade bottle to Ning Yu. Smack! Ning Yu reacted quickly and caught the jade bottle firmly. Both of you will die today. General Dong's expression was extremely cold. He clenched his fists and said fiercely, "If you know what's good for you, surrender now. Otherwise, I will let you know why flowers are so red." Ning Yu ignored General Dong. He opened his mouth and swallowed the jade bottle. Crack! A crisp sound rang out. The jade bottle shattered, and the terrifying energy inside entered Ning Yu's stomach, through his throat. Whoosh! Whoosh! Ning Yu did not dare to be careless, and quickly used the devouring technique. Bang! In just an instant, a muffled sound came from Ning Yu's sea of consciousness. Late stage, peerless, immortal. This muffled sound meant that Ning Yu had advanced from mid-stage, peerless immortal to late-stage, peerless immortal. Damn it! Feeling Ning Yu's rising aura, General Dong shouted and rushed toward Ning Yu. General Dong was very clear that he could not let Ning Yu continue to advance. Given Ning Yu's current strength, his chances of winning against him weren't high. One could imagine what would happen if Ning Yu ascended to peak peerless immortal. At that time, not to mention killing Ning Yu, he would not even have the chance to escape. Therefore, General Dong was determined to stop Ning Yu no matter what. Even if they had to pay the price in blood, they wouldn't hesitate. Your opponent is me. How could Hong Yu allow General Dong to disturb Ning Yu? At the critical moment, she immediately rushed out and fought with General Dong. Rumble. Although Hong Yu's strength was much weaker than General Dong's. However, Scarlet Moon's purpose was not to kill General Dong, but to buy time for Ning Yu. At the very least, with her strength, it should not be a problem for her to resist General Dong for a few minutes. This is infuriating. General Dong's expression was as cold as it could be. Even though he exerted all his strength, the red moon was still like a dogskin plaster, entangling him tightly, making him unable to deal with Ning Yu. Drip! Time was ticking away. The speed at which Ning Yu devoured the energy became faster and faster. Bam! A minute passed in the blink of an eye. Another dull thud sounded. Peak peerless immortal. This meant that Ning Yu's cultivation had ascended from late peerless immortal to peak peerless immortal. This is bad. General Dong's expression changed drastically when he saw Ning Yu reach peak peerless immortal. Boom! With no time to think, he forced Hong Yu back and waved his hands repeatedly, tearing through the air and burrowing into it. Since things had come to this, there was only one choice left for him. Run. Run as far as he could. As a mid-stage, peerless immortal, Ning Yu could fight him evenly. Now that Ning Yu had ascended to peak peerless immortal, his cultivation had soared by 2 levels. How could General Dong possibly be a match for Ning Yu now? Perhaps running away was the best option. Trying to leave? Not so easy. Ning Yu's lips curled into a smile when he saw General Dong burrow into the void. He might not be able to capture General Dong alive as a mid-stage peerless immortal, but he could easily do so now that he was at peak peerless immortal. Wait a moment. With that, Ning Yu burrowed into the void. Whoosh! Scarlet Moon sighed in relief as she watched Ning Yu's disappearing figure. Truth be told, although she'd managed to hold off General Dong for a minute, she'd paid a heavy price for that 1 minute. Fortunately, her efforts were rewarded. In the end, Ning Yu had ascended to peak peerless immortal. Scarlet Moon believed that Ning Yu could definitely capture General Dong alive with his current strength. Bam! However, just as she was about to stretch her muscles, the void beside her suddenly split open. A figure darted out and fell heavily to the ground. Splurt! The figure spat out a mouthful of fresh blood, and his face turned deathly pale, without the slightest trace of blood. General Dong. That's right, the cultivator who'd been blasted out of the void was none other than General Dong. Buzz! Buzz! Soon after, Ningyu slowly walked out of the void. My master is Heavenly Lord Ku-Ba. If you kill me, Heavenly Lord Ku-Ba will never forgive you. General Dong's face was cold. He stared at Ningyu and said in a deep voice, I admit that you are much stronger than me, but you will only die if you go against Heaven Lord Ku-Ba. Forget Heavenly Lord Ku-Ba. Even if you encounter the other 3 generals, you won't stand a chance. Slap. Ningyu raised his right hand and slapped General Dong's cheek. Clang! Clang! Suddenly, General Dong's 2 front teeth were knocked out and fell to the ground. You don't seem to recognize the situation you're in. Ningyu crossed his arms and stared at General Dong with interest. Now that you're a prisoner, I'll ask you a few questions. If you can answer them honestly, I'll consider sparing your life. Uft! General Dong said coldly. Even if I die, I'll never surrender. I'll never betray Heavenly Lord Ku-Ba. Splurt! General Dong was halfway through his sentence. Ningyu punched him in the heart. The huge force pierced through General Dong's heart. You! General Dong's eyes widened in disbelief. Until the moment of his death, he still did not understand why Ningyu dared to kill him. This was Xiaoyun Valley. In the depths of Xiaoyun Valley, Heavenly Lord Ku-Ba and the other generals were there. He admitted that Ningyu was strong, but if he encountered General Dong, or General Dong, it would be difficult for Ningyu to win. What about you? You chose your own path. It has nothing to do with me. Ningyu shrugged his shoulders and casually threw General Dong's corpse into the red demon sword. In order to help him break the stone door, Bai Zhanfei, Shuiwei Fairy, and the rest had used up all the energy in their bodies. Now that he had killed General Dong, he would definitely give him to them. The energy in General Dong's body was enough for Bai Zhanfei and the rest to recover to their peak. They might even have the chance to improve further. Where are we going now? You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.